I'm Christine Lisi. ESPN's Adam Schefter's reporting. Many in the 49ers organization less than thrilled with the field conditions for the team's practice facility at UNLV as they get ready for Super Bowl 58. The NFL started putting a sod field on top of field turf just last week. Ordinarily, Super Bowl practice fields must meet certain standards in December. Just days ahead of Thursday's NBA trade deadline, 76ers star Joel Embiid reportedly scheduled for a procedure on his left meniscus injury tomorrow, expected to miss an extended period of time. All that matters for Philadelphia, having Embiid available this postseason, says First Take host Stephen A. Smith.
If you look at the Philadelphia 76ers, even though they will struggle and they will suffer without the presence of Embiid, if you can find yourself in the playoffs, and a rusty but healthy Embiid comes back, I think they could still make it interesting.
One of baseball's best players in 2023, rewarded handsomely by his team. ESPN's Jeff Passan reports shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. and the Royals agreed on an 11-year, $288 million extension.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Tuesday. If the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, I'll tell you where their dynasty ranks all time. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. The LSU men and women bounce back. We got a really close look at some of the Saints' cap casualties that could be on the way. A 2-round mock draft. LSU women's basketball player Michaela Williams in studio with us today. Ton to do. Let us begin, though, as we do every single day. There we go.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
I knew it was there. Well, I don't know that we could call it a purge within the Saints organization, but what started with firing of Pete Carmichael a couple of weeks ago continued over the weekend with the firing of offensive line coach Doug Marrone. That news came down over the weekend that after 2 seasons in his return to New Orleans, Doug Marrone will not be retained. There already apparently is a likely candidate to replace Doug Marrone, which we'll get into here in just a quick second. But I think one of the things that's pretty common whenever a team doesn't meet expectations is you have fall guys. And heads roll. A year ago, it was Dan Rauscher. I mean, it was like, all that went wrong with that team that went 7-9 or 7-10, and Dan Rauscher was the guy that had it all laid at his feet. Poor guy. That's what we're gonna fire the run game coordinator because that's where the problems lie. Well, you got to have the pound of flesh, and Rauscher was the guy last year, and now it's Sneaky Pete and Doug Marrone. And the more people you keep letting go, the fewer people are remaining to point the finger at. Dennis Allen, Mickey Loomis. So Marrone, I think many people probably know Doug Marrone's backstory. Doug Marrone came to New Orleans on Sean Payton's first staff back in 2006, and he was the offensive coordinator. And he was the OC in 06, 7, and 8. And then he left to be the head coach at Syracuse in 2009. That's when Pete Carmichael was elevated from quarterbacks coach to offensive coordinator. So Marrone was at Syracuse. He became the Buffalo Bills head coach. He became the Jacksonville Jaguars head coach. And after his stint in Jacksonville, which ended in 2020, the COVID year, Marrone spent 1 year on Nick Saban's staff at Alabama as the offensive line coach. And then when Pete Carmichael was hired, when Dennis Allen was hired to be the head coach, they brought Doug Marrone back to New Orleans to be the offensive line coach, and that's where he's been the past 2 seasons. So a few things about Marrone. As I mentioned, every underachieving team has their fall guys. Rauscher last year, Carmichael, Marrone this year. But Doug Marrone probably deserves to be fired. When you look at the Saints' offensive line, it's probably the singular most disappointing unit on the roster, considering the amount of capital you've invested into your offensive line and the relative lack of production to that capital. Think about what the offensive line was when Doug Marrone was in New Orleans the first time. You draft Jari Evans. You draft Carl Nix. You draft Jermon Bushrod. You draft Zach Strief. You had all these hits in the draft. Boom, 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 boom. All of these hits. The guys, Jonathan Goodwin. You brought in Goodwin. All these guys that became the cornerstone of that amazing run to a championship and a team that for 3 or 4 years was the winningest team in the NFL. I mean, there was a time where you had the best guard tandem in the league with Evans and Nix. And Marrone was largely, to credit for that and was at the center of that. So you bring him back and you're hopeful that you can find some of that juice again, and it just isn't there. This year, Pro Football Focus ranked the New Orleans Saints offensive line the 26th best unit in the NFL. 26 out of 32. Almost at the bottom. You're 21st in the NFL in rushing offense. Now, you allowed the second fewest sacks, which is kind of incredible, but maybe that speaks more to how you played the game offensively than how good your offensive line was. The Niners and the Rams allowed 34 sacks. The Saints allowed 35. So oddly, you're pretty good there as far as protecting your quarterback. Anyway, but look at the personnel. Ryan Ramczyk went from arguably the best right tackle in football to where he's now been an injury-prone guy who's nearing the end of his career. Cesar Ruiz, his Pro Football Focus grade this year was 51.2. He remains one of the lowest graded starting interior offensive linemen in the NFL. He just hasn't improved. Eric McCoy remains very solid at center. Andrus Peat is nearing the end of a disappointing career. James Hurst was a Band-Aid. He was brought in to be a rotational piece, a swing offensive lineman. He became your starting left tackle, which speaks to a lot of the issues you had. But maybe the biggest indictment on Doug Marrone over the last 2 years is Trevor Penning. I mean, you used a first-round pick on Trevor Penning. Now, Doug Marrone didn't draft Trevor Penning, right? Like, they don't go to the offensive line coach and say, hey, what do you think we should do with our first-round pick? But he's the offensive line coach. Used a first-round pick on an offensive tackle who basically has just become your tackle eligible, right? The guy that runs up to the ref and is like, number 70, reporting eligible. Like, that's what you're getting out of a first-round pick. And I understand Trevor Penning spent most of his rookie year injured. But he spent this entire offseason, training to be your starting left tackle. And after a handful of games, it was such a disaster, he was better suited on the bench as the tackle-eligible guy than playing anywhere meaningful snaps for this team. So, yes, the inability to develop Trevor Penning and I guess the equal lack of inability to develop Nick Saldiveri this year, does some of that blame does lay at the feet of Doug Marrone. I'm not saying he's the only guy, but there's expectations in the NFL, and people expect things to happen quickly, and that unit has been bad for 2 years under his leadership. So, yeah, it probably is time for a new voice to see if someone can come in and try to maximize the talent you have there. Now, the other problem is You need better talent there. Cesar Ruiz hasn't been good. James Hurst shouldn't be a starting offensive tackle. Andrus Peat only remained on this team because he agreed to take a pay cut and only really ended up starting because Trevor Penning was so bad. So, yes, you got to address your personnel also, undeniably. Really good players make coaches look really smart. But there was still an expectation to develop Trevor Penning, and that didn't happen. So, Doug Marrone is out, and I understand it. As much as we clowned on the decision to scapegoat Dan Rauscher a year ago, I understand the decision to move on from Doug Marrone. Now, Luke Johnson over at NOLA.com and The Advocate is reporting that longtime NFL offensive line coach John Benton has emerged as a top candidate for the Saints offensive line coach job. And he notes that Benton has a strong ties to the Kubiak-Shanahan tree. And as we know, Clint Kubiak is reportedly going to be the new offensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints after the Super Bowl. Well, you're bringing in a guy here, apparently, in John Benton, who has a lot of experience and ties there. So Benton is 60 years old. He spent 15, 16 years coaching offensive line at the college level, moved into the pro level as an NFL offensive line coach in 2003, and he's coached NFL offensive lines every year since 2003. So I'm a guy with 20 years experience as an NFL offensive line coach at 60 years old. He actually also was the offensive line coach for the 49ers in 2019, the year they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Chiefs 4 years ago. So this guy who's been around the league, been a lot of spots, been an offensive line coach, and has ties to Shanahan, Kubiak. So if you have someone who understands conceptually what you're trying to do, speaks the same language, then I understand it. I'm okay moving in that direction. But that is a unit that has got to improve. And I know that as we start to look at a lot of mock drafts, you see receivers and tight ends mocked to the Saints in round 1 at number 14. And I don't think that's a bad idea because the Saints have a lot of needs on the offensive side. But I honestly believe the biggest need on the offensive side is on that offensive line. Because if you shore up your offensive line, you give Derek Carr more protection. You pave the way for a running game, which was 21st in the NFL this year in rushing offense, especially with aging running backs. They need to improve their personnel on the offensive line as well, whether they do a free agency draft or some combination of both. Love to see that happen this year, and it'll happen apparently under a new offensive line coach who we think it looks like will be John Benton, according to Luke Johnson. But Doug Marrone, after his second stint in New Orleans, this one for 2 years, is done with the Saints. Okay, it's after further review. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints. Of course, the official beer of the LSU Tigers as well. Of course, every time you go into a great local retailer, be on the lookout for the LSU Women's Basketball National Championship bottles. First ever women's basketball team to have their own beer bottle. It's a collector's item, so I tell you, man, when you go into a store, and when they're only available while they last, right? So it's not like they're going to keep printing more and more of these. So I would highly recommend buy a case as a collector's item and then buy all the ones that you want to drink. And remember, obviously, Bud Light, huge sponsor of the Super Bowl. So you'll certainly see tons of the Bud Light logo all over Super Bowl coverage. Their great partnership with Peyton Manning as well. And our friends over at Mockler Beverage, I want to remind you, they're sponsoring a Safe Ride weekend to get people home from the parade Saturday and the game on Sunday. So we'll give you more details, but our friends at Mockler want you to be safe. They want you to enjoy Bud Light responsibly and all their products responsibly. So we'll tell you more as we go throughout the week about how you can take advantage of their Safe Ride weekend with the parades on Saturday and with the big game on Sunday. Drink easy with the official beer of LSU and the official beer of AFR, Bud Light. Okay. Excuse me, cough. Sorry about that. All right, let me knock on a quick break. The LSU men and women, speaking of which, both bounced back over the weekend. Dominant wins for the men at home and the women, both at home, but the men against Arkansas, the women against Florida. We'll recap some of that. Kat Terrell, in 45 minutes from right now, we'll take a look at some of the big question marks facing the Saints in the salary cap here as they head near the start of the league year. And Saints got some gymnastics to do, so what is likely, we'll talk about it with Kat coming up in about 45 minutes. We're glad you're here on a Monday edition of AFR. Stick around.
AFR.
Speaking of the parades this weekend, y'all, if you are heading downtown remember, go pop in and see our friends over at the Watermark Hotel. 2 great dining options. One a little more upscale, one more casual. If you're going to be downtown this weekend for the parade, Spanish Town is coming up this weekend. You can always eat at the Gregory, which is 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., then 5 to 10. The bar is open from 7 a.m. to midnight. So if you're going to be on that parade route, you're going to be downtown, pop into the Watermark Hotel, get yourself a Bloody Mary in the morning, maybe a nice glass of wine or a cocktail at night or anything in between. They got you covered. And remember, Milford's on 3rd. So if you're on 3rd Street, you'll see the entrance to Milford's, but you can also get to Milford's through the hotel, but you can also enter through the 3rd Street entrance if you want more deli-style sandwiches. They're both fantastic options. It's the Gregory and Milford's on 3rd, part of the Watermark Hotel in downtown Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 Black Widow trucks, $20,000 off new Ram 1500 trucks, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2024.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
We're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
The best kept secret in town is out.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
This February, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Citizens Bank and Trust are here to offer you a holiday rebate to the tune of a $1,000 cash prize. Signing up is as simple as heading to 1045ESPN.com. It's our annual holiday rebate gift to you from Citizens Bank and Trust, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Both the LSU men and women bounced back with nice, convincing wins at home. The men beat Arkansas 95-74, and the women absolutely blitzed Florida by 40, 106-66 at the Maravich Center on Sunday. So let's take each of them. First of all, here was Matt McMahon on the win against the Hogs.
True team effort for 40 minutes. Thought on the defensive end, really locked in to the game plan and the things we needed to do. And then offensively, I thought it was just a really unselfish, disciplined performance. A lot of fun to watch us play that way. And most of all, really proud of our players for their response this week. The bye week didn't go exactly as we had planned. We had some injuries and illness early in the week that kind of changed up our schedule. But I thought our guys really competed throughout the week and found ways to get better, and then came out with an 11 a.m. start today. The tough, together performance to get us a big win here at home.
It was a big win because, as we've talked about with this LSU squad, they're going to struggle to get to 500 in league play, and especially when you look at the gauntlet that's coming. They had lost 3 in a row, and when you look at the next 5, you're at Tennessee, you're home against Alabama, you're at Florida, at South Carolina, who finally got into the polls. What are the pollsters doing that it took this long for South Carolina to be ranked? But anyway, they're ranked 15th now. And then you're home against Kentucky. You're going to be a decided underdog in all 5 of those games. So if you didn't get the win against Arkansas, you'd have been staring down the barrel of a potential 9-game losing streak. That's a grind. When you lose that many in a row, you start to wonder, are we ever going to win again? I mean, that's kind of what they went through last year, where they had the 13-game losing streak. So you were home against Arkansas. You're better than Arkansas. You needed to win. And LSU played an awesome game, by the way. They looked fire in the gold unis. They should wear them. It'll always be my stump. LSU's permanent home uni should be the golds. They were awesome. Anyway, but you're playing your next 5 that you're probably not going to win any of those. It would be a win if LSU went 1-4 in their next 5. If you could find a way to steal one of those, that would be huge. Now, your last 5, you could win any or all of them. Now, I don't think LSU is a good enough team to assume that you're going to rattle off 5 straight wins, but you're home against State, home against Georgia, at Vandy, at Arkansas, home against Missouri. You can win any of those. So just don't lose your grip on the rope in these next 5. That's the key. But for LSU, they had to get the game on Saturday at home against Arkansas, and they did in large part because Will Baker was unconscious. Our buddy Wes Moore, who was on the show with us on Friday, who does radio and TV in Arkansas, texted me Saturday within the first 5 minutes of that game and said, "You forgot to tell me about All-American Will Baker at LSU." I'm like, hey, bro, we haven't seen Will Baker score 25 and go 4 of 5 from 3 and 9 of 11 from the floor. Dude went off for 25 points. He was awesome. It was his day, and I hope there's something replicable there for Baker. Maybe it's part of him getting healthy. I don't know. After the game, Matt McMahon was asked, why did it open up so much for Will Baker on Saturday?
I think we just had better spacing and better ball movement. We also had to adjust. Arkansas, I think they do a really good job. They mix their ball screen coverages, depending not only on the guard, but on the big. So you're trying to figure out the best way to open up some of those opportunities for Will. And I think when he set some really good screens, they ended up with 2 on the ball. And instead of our guards forcing those, they kicked it out to him for open threes, and we believe in him and his ability to shoot it. He lives in the gym. He's relentless in his approach, and we want him taking those open catch and shoot threes.
If you get a stretch big like that, who can pull bigs away from the basket and can score from 3, yes. I mean, that is absolutely going to add a different dimension to this offense. The other thing of note that we saw on Saturday was Trey Hannibal started over Jalen Cook, and Matt McMahon was asked about that decision.
Yeah, just coach's decision. I thought we needed to change, and really that's all there is to it. I think sometimes, everyone gets so concerned, who starts, who does this, who does that. The ultimate goal is just for us to find ways to win and for each player to perform at their very best. And so sometimes a change, whether that's coming off the bench to where you get to see what's happening on the floor, helps you refocus and lock in on doing the things you need to do to help your team. I love our team. We're still learning best combinations, who plays well together. And so just trying to find those right combinations. And so, I thought both guys handled it exceptionally well, and obviously loved the result that came from it.
Jalen Cook is your best point guard, make no mistake. Matt McMahon does not need to go air his program's dirty laundry, but that it's very clear when we all have talked about Jalen Cook, when Matt McMahon has talked about how the difference in this team is Jalen Cook running the point. I mean, you had Mike Williams running the point early in the season. And think about how different it's been for him as a catch-and-shoot guy playing off-ball instead of being a true freshman being your point guard. It's changed the dynamic of this team and this offense. They function and flow more fluidly with Jalen Cook, but sometimes you got to put a leash on a player. And we don't know what's happening internally there, but it's pretty clear, especially after the Alabama loss where Jalen Cook was 4 of 13 from the floor, 3 of 9 from 3. There were probably some rush shots and possessions that Matt McMahon didn't love, so he said, look, I'm going to sit you, and you're gonna watch. So probably, I'm guessing there, but that's probably a little bit of what that was, to say, hey, look, we're going to function through our offense and do what we do well. And it worked. LSU scored 95 points and they blew out Arkansas, and it was fun to see because, well, I mean, first of all, it's fun to watch Arkansas just unravel. I mean, that's a team that's been to the Elite Eight the past 2 years and was in the Sweet 16 3 years ago. I mean, Eric Musselman has had an incredible run there in Fayetteville, and to watch them unravel has been really fun to watch because I don't need Arkansas being that good. So, yes, please look more like the team that we saw on Saturday with an unraveling, which has happened there at Arkansas. They're 2-7 in league play. I mean, they stink. So I would love to see these two programs going in opposite directions. But this was an opportunity, I think, just to sit Jalen Cook and say, hey, watch, pay attention. So LSU wins. It was a needed win, as we talked about, because of the way the schedule falls. It lightens up in your last 5, but you really missed an opportunity to close out one at Georgia. You could have won at home against Texas A&M. You didn't, and as a result, you were staring at a 3-game losing streak with a gauntlet ahead. You had to get this one, and they did. So hat tip to the LSU Tigers for taking the week off, getting up and ready to play at 11 a.m., and just being absolutely on fire from jump and never letting up. Arkansas didn't get within 17 in the second half. It was never close. So if you missed the game, that was fantastic. By the way, I didn't catch SportsCenter Saturday night to see, but Trey Hannibal had a dunk. I know I tweeted. A lot of people tweeted it, but Trey Hannibal had a dunk on Saturday, an alley-oop that should have been, if it wasn't SportsCenter top 10, it should have been. Here it is. For those that are watching, Paul, you can pull this up. If you didn't see it, it was absolutely incredible. Midcourt, Hannibal dished it to Jordan Wright, who threw the alley-oop, and Hannibal went up with the right hand and dunked it. It was a phenomenal play. So there were some fun moments in that game on Saturday out at the Maravich Center with the LSU beating Arkansas 95-74. All right, it's after further review. The women won yesterday. I got a quick thought on that as well. Quick reminder about Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. It stormed this weekend. I mean, there was flash flooding, and every time it rains, I tell you all the time, there's only 2 ways you find out if you got roof damage. Let us come do an inspection, or wait for it to rain, and then you realize you got water in your house. Well, if that's you, for your home or your office, we'd love to help. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Tell you do business with someone you know. That's me, that's Ryan Terrio, that's Richard Tilley, that's Joe Morales, that's our great staff, that's Scott Barnes. We'd love to help you out from the smallest repair to the largest commercial replacement. We even do commercial new construction as well. Pretty much, if you got a roofing issue, new or new construction, repairs, replacements, commercial, residential, we do it all in every corner of the state. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. The LSU women also coming off their bye. Kim Mulkey mentioned it after the game against Florida that the bye week helped them get right.
The bye week helped us focus on us, and we didn't have to do scouting reports. We stayed in that film room as long as we needed to. We stayed on that floor as long as we needed to work on us. I thought 2 or 3 things that we really emphasized was half-court defense and helping each other and being aggressive. We focused on transition defense and we focused on transition offense. And I thought we were better in all 3 today.
One of the other things, though, listen, I don't know that there's a ton to talk about when you go beat a team by 40, which is what LSU did on Sunday. They beat Florida 106-66. But after the game, Kim Mulkey also made some comments about Haley Van Lith. Just give a listen.
She got to quit worrying about negative people. These young kids, they read too much crap, okay? She's human, and she wants to please her teammates. She wants to please her coaches. She wants everybody to like her. Well, welcome to the real world, Haley. It doesn't work that way. Be you. Do you. And I think she tried to say that without being as blunt as I am. And she was relaxed out there. She just wants to win. She wants to come here and do things she's never done as a part of a program that's very visible. And POA helped with that today by being on the floor more.
Haley Van Lith is a freshman, averaged 11, 14 as a sophomore, 19.7, almost 20 points per game last year as a junior. Right now she's averaging 11.8. It's a different role for her moving to the point. We were in here before the season started. I might have told the story, so if you've heard it already, forgive me. But Terrell was here on a Friday. We had Kim with us, and Kim said point blank to us, she was talking to Ryan. She said, Ryan, I got playing guys that can score. We can score. I just don't know who's going to be my point guard. And replacing Alexis Morris was a real challenge. And so they're asking Haley Van Lith, who's always been a two guard, to move to point in her senior year. So I think, yeah, there is that transition and some of that growing pain there for a senior who's been a scorer, who's playing a different position. So that's maybe the biggest storyline to watch with this team over the next 6 weeks, is how Haley Van Lith continues to develop as a point guard, because we all know Alexis Morris last year. As for all the headlines Angel Reese got, she was awesome and deserving of it. She was a double-double machine. Alexis Morris was the engine that made that thing go a year ago. Haley Van Lith needs to be that this year. Michaela Williams is going to be in studio with us in hour 3. She can score. They can all score. They have plenty of scores. Haley Van Lith can score. But you need someone to make it go. And if Haley Van Lith can keep getting better in that role here over the next 6 weeks, this team will be hell in the postseason. So we'll talk more about that as we move through. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Not got a quick break. Go around the SEC. Two things in particular that I want to talk about. One, Missouri sure has planted its flag, or is planting its flag, as a team that could be making a move as one to be reckoned with nationally. I'll explain what I mean. And then the SEC and the Big Ten. Talking merger? I'll explain. We'll get into it next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Glow Resources. They are complete employer solutions. And Glow Resources giving away cash, y'all. I try to tell y'all, if you have not followed Glow Resources on social media yet, what are you doing? They are announcing their winners for their cash giveaways. And they posted the picture earlier today of last week's winner. His name is Fred Kabide. I hope I'm not saying that wrong. But anyway, there's Fred right there with his $250 cash, posing with Hillary on their social media. So telling you, go follow Glow Resources. You can win cash. GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. But remember, if you're a business owner, Glow Resources, complete employer solutions. Most companies probably don't even know what Glow offers until they try it. Remember, Glow Resources needs to be a first resort for quality and long-term effectiveness with hiring. GLO, glowresources.com.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
I'll bypass a traditional around the SEC here today because I want to take this time to talk about what's going on with the SEC and the Big Ten, or what we could learn this week about the future of the SEC and the Big Ten. First, though, ever since Missouri has come into the SEC, this has felt like an odd fit. Geographically, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, it snows there. They're in the Midwest. They got a crappy little high school stadium with rocks in the end zone. They've never really won anything of significance in any of the major sports. It's just been a weird fit. But we know back in 2012, when the league expanded, what they were seeking. They wanted contiguous members of the SEC footprint, meaning states that are touching, obviously, and they wanted new markets they were not in because they were launching the SEC network, and they needed linear television networks to buy the SEC network. So that's why Texas A&M brought the state of Texas. Going into Missouri brought you Kansas City. It brought you St. Louis. It got you into markets you weren't in. So it made sense, 14 or 12 a dozen years ago, for what the incentive was of expansion at the time. It was, how do we make sure the SEC network is as lucrative as possible when we launch? And literally every cable carrier carried the SEC network at launch. It had more distribution at launch than the Big Ten network had in the decade it had been on air prior to the SEC network launching. So anyway, even still, Missouri has never really felt like a fit. But what a lot of people may not know is, Missouri got money. And I'm not just talking about Stan Kroenke money, but they got money. Last offseason, I was floored with a lot of the NIL conversations that I was having with people to learn that Missouri was making $1 million NIL offers to players. You can laugh, you can roll your eyes, you could say, Scone, what do you know? Believe it or don't. But I've had a lot of connectivity in the NIL world over the last 2 years, and that one I just didn't realize. I didn't realize Missouri had the type of money that they did. And that was validated again today when I saw this. Missouri announced they've secured an anonymous $62 million gift. $50 million of it is from one person. One donor is giving Missouri Athletics $62 million. $50 million toward renovations of the football stadium. $12 million going to the Tiger Fund, which is their NIL component. One gift. Do you remember when Gordon McKernan was in studio here a couple of weeks ago? And you don't have to take my word for it now because I can quote him because he said it on the record. Gordon McKernan, one of LSU's 3 biggest donors for NIL, for the collective, said last year the 2023 LSU football roster had about $4 million in NIL money. One gift from this Missouri donor tripled that number. And please don't misunderstand, that's not to downplay the job LSU has done, because I think they are finally starting to gain some traction and some organization around the collective. LSU has a far way to go, but this weekend was a good start. LSU had a big gala in the indoor practice facility. I was told they raised right at $400,000 in one night. It was $25,000 a table. And they had a really nice evening. And there will be more of that. But one donor just gave them basically $12 million for their collective. I mean, all that to say, and again, that's not to minimize what LSU is doing. That's to illustrate the opportunity for what have been the have-nots prior to buy their way into relevance now. And Missouri might be one of them. I mean, they're already at the big kids table by virtue of the fact that they're in the SEC. And if they're willing to stroke those types of checks for NIL, then yes, they can go buy a competitive roster. And coming off a season where you won a New Year's Six Bowl, I get why the interest would be there for big money donors to step up and state, similar to Ole Miss, hey, this is our shot. The door is open. Let's go see if we can kick it through in a 12-team playoff and make a run. Worth keeping an eye on. Big day for Missouri athletics. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Hey, we're brought to you by First South Farm Credit. If you're thinking about buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Your first option in agriculture is First South Farm Credit. Yes, First South Farm Credit can help you buy your land for agriculture. They can also help you finance your agriculture equipment. But maybe it's beyond that. Maybe you want that recreational property. You're tired of sharing a hunting leash. You want your own property. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. You've heard Ben McDonald for years talk about his experience with First South Farm Credit. First South Farm Credit helped Big Ben finance his hunting property in Mississippi. So yes, even if it's outside of Louisiana, First South Farm Credit has 44 branches across 3 states, and they can help you finance land in any of the 48 contiguous states in the U.S. Your first call for land should be First South Farm Credit. Maybe you already own land and you're looking for more. They can help you take the equity in your current land to finance your new property. If you're looking to buy 10, 20 acres to build your family's dream home, or 1,000 acres for that farmland, First South Farm Credit should be your first call. Go to firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. Ross Dellinger has a piece up at Yahoo today. I would highly recommend you go give it a read. The title is, with college football playoffs still undecided on future format, SEC and Big Ten express doubts in commitment. And the powers that be for college football are meeting this week, and Greg Sankey and Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti spoke to Ross on the record, and they've kind of expressed their doubts about this college football playoff agreement beyond 2025, because they can't agree on simple things like, the Pac-12 had a proposal to move from a 6-6 format to a 5-7, basically dropping the auto bids by 1 because there's no more Pac-12, right? So now you'd have 5 auto bids and then 7 at large. They can't agree. What happens with SMU? There's this debate as SMU moves into the ACC about its revenue share. What about revenue distribution? Currently, they divvy up $460 million annually into subdivisions with, like 80% of it going to the Power 5. Well, what happens now with realignment? They can't even agree and come to finality on some of these things. So Sankey and Petitti are sitting there with their hands in there. They're going, like, what are we doing? Like, we have all the cards. We have all the power brands. We drive all the money, all the revenue. Yet we're beholden to Oregon State and SMU. Like, what are we doing? It's the same thing. It's the same thing that happened more than a decade ago when we sat at SEC Media Days and then Commissioner Mike Slive did his saber rattling about the cost of attendance. And fast forward, ultimately, they voted for cost of attendance because ultimately what Mike Slive says, look, if y'all don't all vote for this, we're just going to break away and do our own thing, meaning the Power Five. And ultimately it got done. It feels like Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti are doing the exact same thing right now. And you're hearing more and more people start to talk openly about football breaking away. And I'm just going to say that if you've listened to this show for a decade, you've heard me say that for a decade. Call it what you want. One college football, no conferences. How do you structure? But it's going to be an invite-only thing. The top 50 will do their own TV deal, kind of like the NFL. I've sat here and I've banged that drum for a decade now. And a lot of people laughed at me, but you're hearing it more and more now. And it is an inevitability that we're heading that way because ultimately the wealthy people who hold all the cards are not going to let their terms be dictated by the group of five and other Power Five schools that don't carry their load. They don't carry their weight. So this is an inevitability. It's always been an inevitability, and we're headed there sooner than later. It's going to happen in my lifetime. It'll happen while I'm sitting here on the radio. And this is another instance of it. When you got the commissioners of the SEC and the Big Ten walking hand in hand, they're telling you those two men are going to determine the path forward for college football, however it's going to look. And it's coming sooner than later because you got this 1 year, one-off 12-team college football playoff format. And beyond that, we're going to find out what the permanent solution is. And those two men are going to dictate what it is. Okay, it's After Further Review. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll wrap up hour number one when we come back. The Chiefs and the 49ers have landed out in Vegas, and today is a very, very, very fond NFL memory. Unless if you live in Atlanta. Talk about it next, AFR.
AFR.
I loved getting this letter from my friend Chuck over at Action Industries. It was a recommendation letter, more even so than a testimonial. And part of it reads, the Action team performed efficiently and safely over the 24-month period of demolition and construction. We, our company, conducted daily safety audits, and the Action team members were able to discuss primary tasks, identify potential safety risks, and provide a variety of construction alternatives that save time and money. Compliments of safety and performance occurred routinely throughout the project. I highly recommend Action Industries for construction or demolition needs. That comes from a chairman of a company, a project manager of a company that does work in more than 100 countries. And Action Industries is right here in Belrose and in Geismar and online. Make sure you follow them on Facebook and LinkedIn. It's Action Industries. Since 1982, Action Industries.
Happy New Year from your friends at Front to Back Boat Service. And what better way to kick off your new year than by taking your boat to the next level? Get the boat of your dreams, and that's where Front to Back comes into play. You want that spot lock trolling motor that's going to keep you right there on the water where you need to be. How about some forward-facing sonar that actually shows you the fish before you even cast? Custom stereo jobs, all of it. Sherman family's been doing it for 38 years. Go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
The best.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
I think obviously the Buffalo game, we made a play and at the end of the game and there was a flag, and that moment right there was frustrating to me just because I feel like it wasn't paying off. At the same time, I just continue to work. The guys continue to work, and it's paid off in the end, and we're one game away from winning that Super Bowl.
Patrick Mahomes, as the Chiefs have landed in Las Vegas. That was a really weird transition. He was also asked about trailing only Joe Montana and Tom Brady in playoff wins. Give a listen.
I really haven't really understood the magnitude of it until this last run. People start putting those things up there, and I've kind of noticed that I've kind of climbed some of those ranks. And I want to be remembered for the team that we have and the way that we did it. It is really cool. Obviously, I got a long ways to go to get to Tom. That's been the craziest part I've seen. I'm like, dang, he has like 33, 35 wins. And this will take exactly what I did, but even more these next 8 to 10 years to even get close to him.
It's interesting that people continue to try to have the convo about Mahomes in the Brady conversation. And I guess I understand why people want to have those convos, but we forget Tom Brady won 7 Super Bowls, man. And maybe most impressively is Brady did it in sort of 2 different eras. Early in his career, they leaned very heavily on defense, and then they lost, obviously, in 7 and 11, and got back there. And incredibly, as I was looking at this today, today is the 7th anniversary of 28-3. Today is the 7th anniversary of the greatest collapse in the history of the NFL, certainly in the Super Bowl. And that's when Tom Brady and the Patriots rallied from down 28-3 against the Atlanta Falcons. We all sat and watched and laughed. And I believe I opened up my show the Monday after that game just with about 2 minutes of laughter. I just belly laughed for 2 minutes because it was so great to watch this unfold. But one of the things that really strikes you is, and there's this montage that's all over NFL media today and everything. When you go follow, can you pull up this audio, Muse, right here? Because this is the game-winning drive. Here's the game winner. Pull it up. So when Tom Brady and the Patriots, thank you, that's fine. When Tom Brady and the Patriots rallied against the Falcons, that was Brady's 5th. He'd go on to win another one, as we know, in the 2018 season with New England, his 6th, and then with Tampa, his 7th. Like, it's hard to believe that 28-3 comeback was only number 5. There would be 2 more after it. So the fact that we're sitting here having the conversation about Mahomes having won 2 Super Bowls, like with 5 to go, but keep it in mind, man, if Mahomes gets there or even close to it, he's likely going to do it without Andy Reid. Brady and Belichick walked hand in hand that whole way. How much longer? I mean, there's talk about Andy Reid potentially retiring after the season. So there's a giant question looming over the future of the Kansas City Chiefs and how that all may go. But in the meantime, Brock Purdy's on the other side. He gave an interview with ESPN about what it would mean to join Joe Montana and Steve Young as Niners quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl.
It would seem like a dream. It just wouldn't really make sense to me for my name to be up there with theirs. I can't get caught up in all that. It's how can I be the best for this 2023 49ers football team and try to do everything I can to win the championship for them. But what an honor it would be.
Super Bowl 58 is Sunday. T-Bob and I, by the way, will be at Don Juan for a Super Bowl companion show. Hopefully, come join us. If you're looking for something to do on Super Bowl Sunday, come hang out with us over at Don Juan Cigar Bar. If you can't be at Don Juan, you can join us on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. All right, Cat Terrell will join us next. Talk some Saints.
AFR.
Brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. Oh, yeah. They do shutters as well. Hey, look, whenever I tell you about Relief Windows, we never talk about price, ever. And the reason is because they'll never be the cheapest. They won't. If you're going to go get 3, 4, 5 quotes just shopping for the cheapest price, then don't call Relief Windows because they won't be the cheapest. They can't be the cheapest because they're going to sell you custom windows, specially made to the exact specifications of your home. They're going to measure twice and install once. They're going to offer you a lifetime transferable warranty on labor, material, and glass breakage. Sell your home, that warranty transfers to the new homeowner. Their kid breaks a window, Relief Windows will honor it and replace that window. Lifetime warranty on wood windows, they offer that as well. There's just nobody better. It's ReliefWindows.com.
Join MMR and ignite your career today. MMR is the largest electrical and instrumentation contractor in the nation, and they're seeking talented individuals to join their team. For over 3 decades, they've been headquartered right here in Baton Rouge, and they have offices all around the globe.
And MMR offers a tailored path for both professional and personal development, outstanding benefits, and a dynamic culture. So whether you're an intern, a seasoned pro, or you're just starting out, see what MMR can offer you. Apply at mmrgrp.com.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2024.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Police in London, Ontario today cited a discovery of new evidence for reopening an investigation into an alleged sexual assault involving 5 players from Canada's 2018 World Junior Hockey team. 4 NHL players who were recently charged with sexual assault were Philadelphia's Carter Hart, Calgary's Dylan Dubé, and New Jersey's Cal Foote and Michael McLeod. 76ers bracing for an extended absence of reigning NBA MVP Joel Embiid, reportedly scheduled for a procedure on his meniscus injury tomorrow. Prognosis after that procedure could have a major impact on Thursday's NBA trade deadline, notes ESPN's Brian Windhorst.
The Sixers are a team that have a lot of options. They have 3 tradable first-round picks. They have over $100 million in expiring contracts. And they have a belief that with Joel Embiid healthy, that they can compete. If they feel like he could come back, they could make stopgap moves where they could hold maybe their seed a little bit higher than that 6, Doggy. They could maybe get in that top 4. So when he comes back, they got a better chance.
Shortstop Bobby Witt, one of baseball's best players last year, agreed with the Royals on an 11-year, $288 million extension, reports ESPN's Jeff Passan.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Tuesday. If the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, I'll tell you where their dynasty ranks all time. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tumplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. You have an early look at returning production numbers for college football next year and what that might mean for the playoff teams from this past season, and we'll take a closer look at LSU as well. Well, it is approaching and nearing the start of the NFL league year, which means it's time for Kai Harley to get out his calculator and start slashing some salaries and restructuring deals. So here to talk about it is our friend Kat Terrell from ESPN.com. All right, Kat, how are you?
Doing great. I'm recovering from weekend 1 of Mardi Gras.
Okay.
So, yeah, waiting for weekend number 2. Glad it's a few days away.
How hard did you go? Like scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like me in college where, well, let me not use my own example. Let's just say,
yeah,
me in college.
I don't know. I was with kids for the first half of the day. So we went uptown, and then they ended up, I had some out of town people come in. So they ended up leaving. So they dropped me off 1.5 miles from where I was going to go meet people in the quarter to go to the end of Barkus. So I saw the uptown parade at the end. I saw Barkus. So it's like you're putting in like a 10-hour day.
That's a long day.
A 5.
You
don't ramp up to the final day. So this is just a preview.
Sure.
It is a long day though. But it's quite a lot of walking.
Yes. Pro tip basically is what that is.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's you got a piece up at ESPN.com right now about basically the Saints cap decisions that are all coming. Big picture first, Kat. Do you ever see a time or an end to this philosophy of just as everyone has phrased it, keep kicking the can down the road?
I think if they were going to do that, they would have not signed Derek Carr. So it's going to be a while now. They don't have a choice. I mean, that's the thing. It's like once it gets rolling, you can't stop for a few more years. And the way Derek Carr's contract is structured, this is going to keep happening for several years. So if they were going to do it, it would have been last year, and they didn't see it that way. And so now, we're going to probably see the fallout of that over the next 3 years, probably, with just some of the bigger names that I highlighted that are some of the older players in the league.
Let's start. We'll get there. Let me start, though, with Carr, since you mentioned it. I know there's been reports that he's going to get restructured, which, I mean, look, Kat, in my heart of hearts, we all knew that they were going to restructure him. I guess I just hoped that they wouldn't. They just bite the bullet and get rid of him after this season. So what does a Derek Carr restructure mean realistically?
I mean, it's a huge number. So, I mean, basically people that aren't, cap nerds, a restructure simply means you move money from this year to the next year. So you take Derek Carr's $30 million base salary, almost all of it, and you divide it by as much as 5. So you're adding $5 million a year to the future cap number. So basically what that means is you go from next year, they could have gotten out of his contract with really not too much of an issue. I think his salary may have been guaranteed, so, they'd have to eat some money. But it goes from that to they would lose money against the cap if they tried to cut him next year. And his salary cap number will be so big that they'll probably have to restructure it again. So it adds it basically just means you're tied to the player unless you feel like that player absolutely needs to go and they're just going to eat all the dead money at once. Sometimes you see that. I mean, the Falcons did that with Matt Ryan when they traded him, and sometimes it works out that the team bounces back quickly after a year, and sometimes it has fallout for a while.
Biggest cap hit ever, dead cap hit ever, was the Eagles. Right, the Eagles did with what was the quarterback they took second overall after Goff, the kid from North Dakota. Why am I blanking?
What, Carson Wentz?
Wentz, thank you. Yeah, they did it with Wentz, right? They ate like $50 million on Carson Wentz's contract. I'm
not sure how much it was, but yeah, I mean, it's a similar concept. You got to hit on these players and hope that they see out their entire contract, or else you're going to be paying for it. So that's kind of what they're seeing with Derek Carr. I don't think they see it that way. I don't think in their mind, I mean, I don't know, I'm speaking for other people, but I don't think they see it as this problem that other people might see it as. So to them, that's probably not a huge deal. I think the other ones, the more difficult ones that you mentioned we're going to get to, are the players that are getting older and not performing as well as they used to be, but yet the Saints are tied to them as well. So it's not that they can't get under the cap. There's certain, kind of made me laugh because if you follow my work, I do a lot of cap work, and I have for the past 10 years, and someone sent me a picture of Kai Harley and said, well, you don't know how to manage the cap, you don't know football. And I was just thinking, have you read any of my stuff? I write about this every year. I know they can get under the cap.
I think everybody that covers the Saints could probably be like an assistant GM in any NFL office right now to help with cap structures, because you all have to do this every year. By the way, the Eagles ate $52 million in dead money, but 33 of it was Wentz. So that was the number I was thinking of.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
I know the Matt Ryan number was huge too at the time.
You mentioned the older guys on the roster. And that's one of the things, Kat, that people often ask, like, well, could they trade this player? And generally my answer is, well, no, because who's going to give up an asset to take on an aging player with a bad contract? So who are the players that you look at right now that are the ones that are most in line for a restructure or a question about how their contract will work?
I'm going to end up doing a bigger cap piece on how they get under the cap later, but the one today was just naming some of these guys. One of them is Ryan Ramczyk. He's not old. He's not even 30 yet, but all of a sudden you're dealing with a tackle with bad knees that signed a new deal a few years ago and could end up not seeing that deal. So that's a big one. Alvin Kamara is a little bit of a question mark when you look at production of running backs and how fast they decline around this age. Taysom Hill is a question because he's older and he's taken just as many hits as Kamara has, actually. So that's another one. He's had a lot of injuries. Then, Cam Jordan's the other question. Then Demario Davis isn't as big of a question. He's only got 2 years left, or a year. He doesn't have a long contract like the rest of them, and it won't have major financial implications. But if his contract ends up voiding, it's going to be like the Andres Pete situation potentially this year, where they have to pay for him when he's not on the roster.
Is Kat Terrell's with us? She's on Twitter at Kat_Terrell, ESPN.com Saints reporter. So, I mean, we all know, Kat, that they're going to get within cap compliance. They're going to restructure all these deals. Right. But is there a path to where they start to see? Like, I always compare it, Kat, to you take on this mountain of debt, and instead of just stop spending, start to pay off the debt. They keep applying for new credit cards or taking out more loans.
Right.
Do they ever, what could they do to start paying off the debt?
They would have to have a year where they just decide, hey, a lot of people look at it this way. They say, should the Saints tear it down and rebuild? That's not always that easy because you have to pay for these remaining signing bonuses all at once. So you can't just cut everyone all at once. It doesn't work that way because then all this money is accelerated in the cap. And I could give a long-winded answer, but I won't. So I guess it's more like they start to see that maybe they're not going to be as competitive as they hoped, and they start shedding the pieces one by one. I don't think that's a one-year process. I think that takes place over a few years. But in the Saints' mind, they might continue to say, we run our team thinking that the cap is going to accelerate up every year because of TV deals, and we're just going to catch up because the salary cap is always getting bigger. So maybe they never changed their approach because they've been doing this ever since Drew Brees got that new contract in 2012, and they really haven't ever felt inclined to change the way they do things.
I'm not going to spend less to pay off my debt. I'm just going to go make more money. That's what I'm going to do. That's basically their
philosophy, basically.
Oh, it's so crazy.
And sometimes I'm not going to say that it's always a bad idea. I understood their thought process when Brees still had years to go. They were trying to surround him with pieces. Yeah, it made sense.
Absolutely.
I understood that. But then, going and signing Derek Carr, and it's not that his contract is this huge burden of a contract if he's playing well. If he's not playing well, everything changes. So if they hadn't signed him, then it would be a different story because then you could probably start getting out of this hole, but that's not going to happen now.
They went all in to win another one with Brees, and they just didn't climb the mountain. And it sucks because now you're left with this mountain of debt and nothing to show for it. But it's the reality. It's the risk that they took, and they just keep digging this hole deeper. It's so odd to see, but in any event. We'll be following all of your cap pieces because, yes, Kat Terrell does understand the salary cap. That's hilarious that someone would think anybody covering the Saints at this point doesn't know how the salary cap works. Make sure you follow her on Twitter at Kat_Terrell. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, have a good one. We're brought to you by DraftKings, official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 58. Y'all, our friends at DraftKings, they've outdone themselves again. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the promo code Baton Rouge, make a $5 bet on the Super Bowl, and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. That's any $5 bet on the big game. And with DraftKings same-game parlays, everyone has a shot at an even bigger win for Super Bowl 58. So you string together multiple bets from the big game for a shot at making your payday even bigger, even sweeter. It's at the DraftKings Sportsbook. So do it right now. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Maybe you've been using a different Sportsbook app. Fine. Use DraftKings as well. Why wouldn't you take advantage of this opportunity to get $200 in bonus bets instantly? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. One word, Baton Rouge. Make a $5 bet on the Super Bowl. Any $5 bet on Super Bowl 58, they'll give you $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's at the DraftKings Sportsbook with the promo code Baton Rouge. DraftKings, the crown is yours. 21 plus, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. Licensing partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. All right, I was telling you, so I didn't know if he had we recorded that spot on Friday, so I didn't know if he had the disclaimer, if I was going to have to do it live. That's what I was asking him. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Bottom of this hour, thought LSU football might catch a break with one of its non-conference opponents, but apparently that's not going to happen. I'll explain in about 15 minutes. When we come back, though, every year we always look at Bill Connolly's S&P Plus. And it's not that the S&P Plus, it's what I often say about like Pro Football Focus. It's a metric. It's not the metric. But one of the things Bill Connolly always looks at is returning production. And sometimes there are fascinating nuggets that you can extract from this about how you would project for a team. So I want to look at the playoff teams for this year and LSU to connect a few dots. We'll do that when we come back. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. Agent225.com. Agent225.com. Y'all, call Darren James. If you are thinking about selling your home, I can't imagine why you would call anyone else. Darren James, I tell you all the time, is on the Wall Street Journal's Real Trends list of the top 1% of realtors in America. That's amazing when you think about it. Number 54 in the country. And now he partners with LPT Realty, and you get all the benefits, the collaboration, the marketing of LPT Realty, the fastest growing real estate company ever. They've gone from 1 to 8,000 realtors in 1 year. And Darren James and LPT Realty are welcoming Nicholas Petit to the team as well. Or I guess it might be Pettit. Nicholas Pettit. Let's go Pettit. My apologies. Call Darren James, 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James. There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Craig sent me a text, said, Scone, any update on the Ocho Cinco visit to the show? Unfortunately, no update. I think I always thought this was probably going to happen after the Super Bowl, but Ocho replied so quickly. For those who don't know, Ocho and I had a bet. Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, and I had a bet. He lost. He's got to come do the show with me in Baton Rouge. And he replied and said he'd honor it. And we thought he initially said he planned to come like last week. And then I don't think he ghosted me. I just think my messages are probably buried among a guy that's got a million followers on Twitter. But we're going to make it happen. But I always thought it would happen after the Super Bowl when he's not doing inside the NFL and life just generally calms down a little bit more. So I will absolutely hold him to it. We're going to make it happen. And when we have an update, I'll certainly pass it along to you. Every year, Bill Connolly, who does the SP Plus over at ESPN.com, does his S&P Plus rankings, and he updates them throughout the offseason. But part of the SP Plus, it really measures three things. It's, and I'll oversimplify it, but it's how good has your team been lately? How well have you recruited? And who returns from last year's team? And he uses his metrics to put all those together and come up with a ranking, and that's his SP Plus ranking. And so it evolves as the offseason goes along because you have guys that transfer and guys that declare for the draft, and you have players coming in and so on and so forth. So these rankings evolve throughout the offseason, and next week he's going to drop the first rankings, but today he listed the returning production. Now, I'll go through that in a second, but just for some context, last year, I want to highlight some of the returning production numbers from a year ago. Like, the number one team in the country a year ago for returning production was Florida State. Florida State returned 87% of its production a season ago, and as we saw, Florida State ended up having a really good season. They went undefeated. Now, they got screwed out of a playoff spot, but they went undefeated. Michigan, which won the national championship, was number 5, had the 5th most returning production from a season ago. So you could look at those and go, yeah, well, that makes sense. These teams return a lot of production. They did really good. Well, number 7 in the country was Texas A&M. And their coach got fired. But a few spots behind them, at 9, was Missouri, and Missouri went to the New Year's Six. So there's something to be said for this, right? It makes sense. You return a lot of production, and you should be pretty good. Well, Southern Cal was 14th, and they didn't have such a hot season. But another playoff team, Texas, was 19th in returning production at 74%. So you can look and say, okay, Washington was 3 spots behind them at 22. They were a playoff team. So Michigan was 5, Texas 19, Washington 22. That's 3 of your 4 playoff teams. Now, the outlier was Alabama. Alabama, out of 133 Division I programs, Alabama was 125th in returning production. So, and they made the playoff, obviously. So just for some context, LSU last year was 32nd in returning production. Okay, so just for context, again, Florida State was 1, your playoff teams, Michigan 5, Texas 19, Washington 22, then Bama 125 way down there. So that was returning production of a year ago. Let's look at this year. Again, the rankings aren't out, but this is just the returning production. Number 1 in the country, Virginia Tech, returning 86% of its production. So if you're looking for a team that might unexpectedly take a step, Virginia Tech could be a good bet. Just behind Virginia Tech is Iowa State and then Nebraska. So if you're a big believer, I mean, in the returning production metric, Nebraska could be that team that this year takes a big leap. We'll see. The ones that I thought were interested that I highlighted: Colorado 15 with Coach Prime, and then Texas A&M again. Yeah, A&M a year ago was 7th in returning production. Jimbo got fired. This year they're 18th in returning production. So even with all of the exodus, they've still got 72% of their production returning. I also wanted to look at this year's playoff teams to say, okay, the teams that were in the playoffs, Texas, Washington, Michigan, Bama, where are they in returning production to say, could they maybe have a return trip? Well, the highest ranked among them is Texas. Texas returns 70% of its production. They're 25th overall. The rest of the playoff teams from this year, let's just say a return for any of them, according to this metric, would be highly unlikely. Alabama is 115th in the country in returning production at 44%. 115. Michigan, you can leave it there, Paulie. Michigan is 128, and Washington is 130th. So the point being, Bama 115, Michigan 128, Washington 130. That's returning production. 3 of the 4 playoff teams have been decimated. So you wonder why, there aren't going to be many people super high on Michigan this year, not just because you lose Jim Harbaugh, but they lose 64% of their production. They return only 36% of their production on either side of the ball. Same thing for Washington. So, yeah, man, Bama, Michigan, Washington, you would expect just with the amount of production they lost, take a massive step back. Now, yes, you could supplement via the portal, and a big determinant factor of whether or not you're going to be able to replace that production is how you did in the portal with guys that could step in immediately and help you. So that's why I think there's 2 other really interesting schools on this list. LSU is one of them, and Ole Miss is the other. Because LSU, while you lose the Heisman Trophy winner, you're losing 2 first-round draft picks at receiver, you're losing your interior defensive line. LSU is 60th in the country in returning production. 60th. Ole Miss is 68th. So what that really is going to come down to for Ole Miss is, how did you do in the portal? The guys that you're bringing in, you bring in Logan Diggs at running back, but you lose Quinshon Judkins. That doesn't feel like a what and what. How do you replace that productivity? That is a massive question when you look at this. Yes, there are other variables because we're going to see what freshmen come in that have a huge impact. And there's going to be another portal cycle as well after spring football. So these numbers are going to continue to evolve. It's not a final number, but it's a pretty clear indicator when you can look at it and say, okay, look at the teams who are at the bottom of the returning production, and it's kind of evident of how a season might go, right? TCU played for the national championship, was 118th in returning production. There are outliers like that, but you can also look at circumstances and understand why a team's season might go the way it did. But then there's Georgia. Georgia this past season in 2023 was 80th in the country in returning production, and they were right there on the doorstep of return trip to the playoff. I mentioned Bama was 125th and got back into the playoff. So really it's a matter of, how did you do in the portal replacing the production you lost? That's the gigantic question. And it's the unknown until you tee it up and kick it off. But it's pretty clear when you look at the playoff teams from this year, Texas is best suited to get back. They're 25th in the country in returning production. Bama 115, Michigan 125, Washington 130. It would be a massive upset to see any of those 3 back in the college football playoff. Okay, It's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. We're brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. Go to ShawBillsTire.com. You can shop deals at ShawBillsTire.com. I love telling you about Shaw Bills because for more than 50 years, I always say, Shaw Bills, we keep you rolling. And they've been treating you like family and getting you name brand tires at wholesale prices. Couldn't recommend them highly enough. So go to ShawBillsTire.com. That's ShawBillsTire.com. You can tap the promotions tab right there at the top. Tap the promotions tab right there at the top, and you can see all the dealer specials that they have, all the promotions they have going on, and how they will mix manufacturers' offers with their in-house offer to get you the best price possible on name brand tires. So these are name brand tires at wholesale prices when you go to Shaw Bills. Like the great deals they have right now on the Bridgestone tires, get up to $180 off a set of 4 new select Bridgestone tires instantly. You get up to $170 off as well on Firestone. You can combine with the in-house offers from Shaw Bills. Go to the website, learn more. It's at ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. All right. We'll have Tigers and the Pros in about 15 minutes. There's a 2-round mock draft from ESPN, from Matt Miller over to ESPN. And I found it interesting because the 3 LSU guys we know are going in round 1 are all in there, but it's what the Saints did at 14 and at 45 that I found interesting. So we'll get to that in about 30 minutes from right now. LSU freshman Michaela Williams will be in studio 1 hour from right now. We're looking forward to that conversation as well. Stay with us. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Our friends over at River City's 1 Hour Air, they were at my house on Friday. I practice what I preach. I always encourage you, ask about the membership club and join it. And I did that years ago. And it's so worth it for the small amount of money you pay each month. You get membership club pricing when you do need a repair or replacement. You get front-of-the-line service whenever you do need a technician coming to your house. And your seasonal maintenance is complimentary. So when I tell you all the time about your AC tune-up or your heater tune-up, or the heater safety check, that is complimentary service. They actually call me or text me to schedule. I don't even have to remember to do it. So Friday, I had Chris at my house, technician, who did a great job and got our heater tuned up in tip-top shape, cleaned, running efficiently for all the cold weather months. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks. It's River City's 1 Hour Air.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Pels are back on the floor tonight. They're at home against Toronto. What a game it was on Friday. I don't think anybody anticipated being as close as it was against the lowly Spurs, but it ended up coming right down to the wire. A huge steal on the defensive end, and then Z took care of the rest on the offensive side.
Missed the layup, tapped out.
Somebody blocked it.
We got it. Front court Z takes it in. Got the lay-in to go.
Oh, tough.
Zion Williamson over the front iron with 3.8 seconds to go. He had a head of steam like a bull.
High off the glass from the left side, Zion really triple teamed. Got it to go, and the Pels beat the Spurs 114-113. They'll take on the Raptors tonight at home, where the Pels are 14-10. New Orleans is a heavy favorite in this game, 10.5-point favorite tonight against Toronto at home. As I look at the injury report, Herb Jones, Larry Nance, Zion, all game time decision tonight for the Pels. And Willie Green had some media availability with reporters on Sunday and talked about first that game winner that Zion had on Friday night.
A lot happened in 10 seconds, but in the end, the ball got to Zion, and he took off with 3 guys on him. Just a touch that he has, especially going at that speed, to be able to find the backboard, put it on the backboard, and he goes in. It was incredible.
It was incredible. It went. The Pels got the stop on the defensive end. San Antonio had a look at the win, missed it, but Pels get the win. Let's see if they can get it tonight against Toronto as well. They're a big favorite, but we're staring down the NBA trade deadline, so keep that in mind. Thursday of this week is the NBA trade deadline, so we'll see if the Pels might be buyers or sellers. But here was Willie Green on the mindset of the organization right now with the trade deadline just a few days away.
I'm definitely leaving it to Trajan and Griff a bit more, but, they fill me in on any discussions that happens, and, we kind of go from there. But, it's tough. It's tough, I'm sure, for some of our guys if they're hearing rumors and things that they can't control. But the mindset for all of us is focus on what we can control. We can continue to come in and look at the things that we're doing well on the floor. We can enjoy coming in and being with each other here. And the rest is out of our control. We can prepare to go out and be great every game, but the rest of it you can't control, and we just try not to put too much focus on that.
Schedule in January was brutal. The Pels managed to finish at 8-7. February lightens up immensely, and the Pels are sitting there in the 7th seed right now at 28-21. They're a half game behind Phoenix, who's in the 6th seed. So, of course, if you're trying to avoid the play-in, remember, you want to be in the top 6. The top 6 are in the playoffs, and then the next 4, 7 through 10, are competing in the play-in for the final 2 spots. So, Pels are right there. Long way to go. It's only February. It's the beginning of February. Long way to go, but you're in striking distance, and it's kind of where you want to be, and it'll be a huge step forward for this organization if they're able to earn their spot in the playoffs, not have to go into the play-in like they did 2 years ago. So see if the Pels can go get it done. And at home tonight against Toronto, Pels are a 10.5-point home favorite against the Raptors, which are 17-32 on the season right now. All right, it's after further review. Got some assistant coaching news in the NFL I want to talk about, in college football for that matter. Here, got to remind you about Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Gentlemen, we are 9 days away, 9 days and counting from Valentine's Day. If you screwed up Christmas, here's your chance to make it right, or just to stay in the good graces with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Remember, a diamond from Lee Michaels will sparkle unlike any other. It will thrill her, make you a hero. And if you are thinking of popping the question, gentlemen, let Lee Michaels help. It's just a different standard. Every diamond comes from the most exquisite diamond mines in the world. Every diamond, before it goes into the case, is hand inspected by a family member. None of these are man-made diamonds. They will hold their value for their lifetime, and it's something you'll be thrilled to pass down to future generations in your family. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. 2 locations in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, 10 locations in all. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. A familiar name, interviewing for a defensive coordinator job in the NFL, former LSU defensive coordinator Durante Jones, interviewed for the Giants DC job. I can't help but wonder how different Durante Jones's path, or maybe even LSU's football path, might have gone if Ed Orgeron had kind of just let Durante Jones call his defense as he would have the entire season in 2021. LSU was very conservative. They didn't really bring a lot of pressure. And the first half of the season was abysmal. They gave up 38 in the loss to UCLA. Even some of the wins, the defense wasn't very good. The 25 points they allowed at Mississippi State. The 24-19 loss at Auburn. The embarrassing loss at Kentucky, 42-21. You beat Ole Miss, or Florida, the day that Ty Davis-Price ran for 300 yards, but you gave up 42 points in that game. You went to Ole Miss and got drubbed 31-17. But after the bye, it's kind of when they kind of took the handcuffs off, and Durante Jones just started getting really aggressive. You almost beat Alabama. That was 20-14. You lost to Arkansas, where you gave up 16 points in an overtime game, lost 16-13. You allowed 14 to ULM, 24 to Texas A&M. I mean, it got better in that final month. You wonder how it might have looked, or how it might have gone differently if it had worked that way. But Durante Jones, who came to LSU from the Vikings after his year with LSU, went back to the Vikings, where he's been now for the past 2 seasons, interviewing for the DC job with the New York Giants. So we'll keep you posted as if Durante Jones ends up moving up in his career with the Giants. That remains to be seen. And the other thing that I wanted to keep an eye on this weekend was what was happening with Chip Kelly. So this is only relevant because LSU plays UCLA this year. And if you haven't been following this, Chip Kelly has been aching to get back into the NFL. I don't know why. I don't know if it's he feels like he's got a lack of support at UCLA. Maybe it's the fact that UCLA is jumping into the Big Ten this year, and the step up in competition going from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten is daunting. Look, we saw what happened with Jaden Rashada. They've had just some real challenges at UCLA. So, but he's done relative to what he inherited and what the expectations are, he's done a pretty remarkable job. His first year, they went 3-9. And then they went 4-8, and then there was the COVID year. And coming out of the COVID year in 2021, the year they beat LSU, they went 8-4. Then they went 9-4, and then this year they went 8-5. So, like, he has really maximized what UCLA can be and what they've been in their recent history. But it's just pretty clear he wants out. So Chip Kelly had gotten his name in the mix for the Raiders and the Commanders jobs to be their offensive coordinator. And Dan Quinn made the call. Dan Quinn's now the coach in Washington, and he's hired Cliff Kingsbury to be his OC there. Well, that left the Raiders open, and the Raiders had thought that they had a deal done with Kingsbury. Well, Kingsbury did an about-face, takes the job in Washington. Well, that left the Raiders' OC job open, and we found out that the Raiders have hired Luke Getsy, who interviewed a couple times for the Saints job, the former Bears offensive coordinator. All this is relevant for this reason. If Chip Kelly were to leave UCLA, then UCLA would have a 30-day portal window open. And that would be massive for LSU. LSU has to host UCLA this year. Now, I don't think UCLA is going to be a great football team this year. But Chip Kelly is a great coach, and there's stability there. But if Kelly were to leave, you'd have late turnover on your staff, and that 30-day portal window would open, which means you would have players undeniably leave, thus weakening the roster. Listen, I'm looking at LSU's schedule for 2024, and I know that this LSU team has a lot returning. I mean, yes, you are replacing the Heisman Trophy winner and 2 first-round draft pick wide receivers, and that is not easy. But we know what LSU's returning, right? You're returning 4 of your 5 starters on the offensive line, and you're returning a lot of production defensively as well, even from a defense that was not very good last year. But even still, when you look at LSU's schedule, it is daunting. I mean, every year in the SEC is, but you open up against Southern Cal out in Las Vegas. Then you've got Nicholls at home before you go to South Carolina. UCLA comes home. South Alabama, Ole Miss is going to be a preseason top 10 team. You're at Arkansas, at A&M. You get Bama. You're at Florida. Then you finish with Vandy and Oklahoma. So, I mean, Southern Cal, at South Carolina, Ole Miss, at A&M, Bama, at Florida, Oklahoma. I mean, it's a brutal schedule. And if you can somehow weaken UCLA and make that a layup, that's huge considering where it falls. Because you open up with Southern Cal, then you get Nicholls, then you're at South Carolina. If you can get a breather with UCLA and South Alabama before you have your open date and take on Ole Miss, it lays out better for you. So, yeah, I was kind of hoping Chip Kelly would take a job in the NFL just to weaken UCLA in this one season. But it would appear, though, with every NFL OC job now filled, it would appear as though Chip Kelly's going to stay at UCLA, sans another option. We'll see if something might come open, something might come up, if there's an opportunity for him elsewhere. If there is, pull hard for it, because anything that weakens any team on LSU's schedule, you'll take it at this point. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out our final break here of hour number 2. When we come back, Muse will have Tigers in the Pros. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. As a matter of fact, in about 45 minutes from right now, Michaela Williams will be in studio with us. She was a #1 recruit in the country up from North Louisiana, and now part of the LSU women's basketball team, and now part of the G team as well. Michaela Williams, as every week, Gordon has continued to introduce new female members of the G team in honor of Women's History Month, which is coming up in March. So great to see Michaela Williams, MK Williams, join the G team, as has Anissa Morrow and so many other great female athletes. And Gordon's doing amazing work through the G team and giving these student athletes NIL opportunities, an opportunity not only to make money, but to give them a platform to talk about their brand and their sports and their teams as well. Of course, if you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, you know what to do. Do what injured people in our state have done for more than 30 years. Go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. You can always call the 888-8888. Get Gordon and get it done.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 Black Widow trucks, $20,000 off new Ram 1500 trucks, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2024.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck. your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
The best kept secret.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
As the gladiators of the gridiron battle it out for football's biggest prize, you'll be battling it out for one of radio's biggest prizes. It's the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge Big Game Contest, where you could win $50,000 cash if your name is drawn from the pot and you've correctly guessed the final score of the game. Get your score guesses in now at 1045ESPN.com.
Next time you got to have the classic battle.
Classic battle, yeah.
Boom, boom.
As the gladiator.
You should be looking it up right now as I stall.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
that was a good opportunity to do that. Yeah. No, maybe we missed it.
I think we did.
Yeah. By we, I mean you.
Okay. I mean, yeah, sure. Okay. I'll accept that.
Don't miss this one, Muse. Tigers in the pros. There we go. Yeah.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, let's start with Nas Reed. No. He's from New Jersey, if memory serves correct.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, he had 13 points last night, 22 minutes off the bench, but had 6 rebounds, 5 of 11 shooting. Pretty solid night there. Efficiency. It's been the name of the game for Nas. We keep giving you the plus-minus stat because he keeps being positive in every time, and he was again last night with 4. Also a steal and 2 blocks. Interesting. He really stuffed the stat sheet. Duop Reith did not get a lot of run last night for the Blazers, but made the most of his time in the game. 8 points in 13 minutes. Didn't miss a shot. Perfect. 3 of 3 from the floor, 2 of 2 from behind the arc. So, solid night there for him. NBA action to keep an eye on tonight. Ben Simmons will be out for the Brooklyn Nets against the Warriors. This is due to what they're calling back injury maintenance. You'll remember Ben missed, the majority of this year with a nerve impingement in his back. Then suffered a knee contusion. Did return against the Sixers over the weekend, but it was very limited, only 14 minutes. He didn't score a point. Now, they'll do.
But look at his stat line. He was awesome.
9 rebounds, 5 assists, for sure.
It was incredible. They blew the crap out of the Sixers in that game.
136, 121.
He was awesome in limited minutes. Not only did not score, he didn't attempt a shot.
Yeah, he didn't.
It was incredible.
But now he'll be out with back injury maintenance tonight. So we'll keep you updated as Ben continues to recover from that. So far, since he's been back, he's been really good. On the golf course, they had to shorten the Pebble Beach Pro-Am because the weather was insane. So it's over. But it was another top 10 for Sam Burns.
Okay.
12 under par, 5 under in his final round, which was actually the third round, but his final. So that's back-to-back top 10s and back-to-back starts.
And?
How about this? Let's head to the Champions Tour. We don't do that as much as maybe we should, but David Toms had a really nice week. A top 5 finish for him on the Champions Tour. Shot 17 under par for the tournament, 7 under in the final round. I will go ahead and give it to you. Since you're over there, Curtis Thompson on the Corn Ferry Tour He unfortunately missed the cut with a score of 9
That
over.
makes sense. The only time you ever bring up Curtis Thompson is when he misses a cut.
It's not true.
That kind of feels like that's
true.
true.
It's not true.
Paul, is that true? Kind of feels like that's true, doesn't it?
Kind of feels like
When was
it,
the last time you heard Muse give us some great stat line? Great round by old CT, huh? Remember anything? Yeah, me either, Paul.
I really
Weird.
don't think that's actually my fault. That part's out of my control. So I just pass along the news here.
How weird is that?
That's Tigers and the Pros.
We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen and SouthPointVW.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online, SouthPointVW.com. I am really excited. I don't know what it'll be, but I'm excited to see what the Volkswagen Super Bowl ad will be. They usually do good. Remember the Darth Vader kid a couple of years ago was a good one. They generally bring it, so I'm excited to see what Volkswagen does. Go to the website right now, SouthPointVW.com. They got a pretty cool tribute. It says like an American love story. It's got all these old model Volkswagens on there, which is pretty cool. But they also have all the dealer specials right now for new Volkswagen. So whether it's new or certified pre-owned, if you want to drive one of the safest vehicles on the road, all the style, the feel, the performance, the luxury, make it a Volkswagen. Test drive one today. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? Okay, y'all. Hour number 3 coming up right after Sports Center. 2-round mock from ESPN.com. We'll do it next. AFR.
AFR.
If with all this rain, you had any water intrusion, you might have mold, or you could have mold starting to breed. So call Pure Restoration. I'll give you the website, pure-restoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor. Maybe it's not just odor from mold or other wetness. Maybe it's cigarette odor. Maybe it's pet odor. Maybe you operate a gym, a workout facility, and there's all that sweat odor. Well, you want to get rid of that easily? Let Pure Restoration come in. They'll spray their patented non-toxic dry fog, and as soon as the fog dissipates, boom, you're back in free and clear. Totally safe for pets and your family and for everything. You're not cutting sheetrock and pulling out carpet and moving furniture. It's Pure Restoration. Or just email me and say, Scone, what's the mold thing you always talk about? Pure-restoration.com.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2024.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. A collective thumbs down from the 49ers when it comes to the field conditions at their practice facility for Super Bowl 58 at UNLV, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter. The league started putting in a sod field on top of field turf just last week. Ordinarily, Super Bowl practice fields required to meet certain standards in December. Just days ahead of Thursday's NBA trade deadline, 76er star Joel Embiid reportedly scheduled for a procedure on his left meniscus injury tomorrow, expected to miss an extended period of time. All that matters for Philadelphia, having Embiid available this postseason, suggests First Take host Stephen A. Smith.
If you look at the Philadelphia 76ers, even though they will struggle and they will suffer without the presence of Embiid, if you can find yourself in the playoffs and a rusty but healthy Embiid comes back, I think they could still make it interesting.
Shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. and the Royals agreed on an 11-year, $288 million extension, reports ESPN's Jeff Passan. The deal has a 14-year, $377 million ceiling.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier. They'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona. And here we go. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. LSU women's basketball freshman Michaela Williams, part of the G team, scheduled to be in studio with us here at the bottom of this hour. It is mock draft season. The Senior Bowl now in the rearview mirror, so you would expect a lot of updated draft lists, mock drafts, etc. And today, Matt Miller over at ESPN.com has put out his updated 2-round mock draft. So let us begin and look through this if we shall. Love me a good mock draft. Muse, you love a mock draft?
Yeah, they're good. They're good. They get a little repetitive, but they're good. Sure.
You get a little repetitive.
I like when there's like a big bombshell that just shocks everybody. That's what I like.
Paulie, do you like a good mock draft?
I do. I like the ones where you do it yourself. A little interactive.
Oh, those are fun, yeah.
Ooh. The mock draft simulator?
Yeah, those are good. We do one every year on the show.
You know what's interesting about that is you always think you know what you're going to do until you're presented with a situation where you weren't anticipating. You thought that player would be there, and they're not. And what do? And it's like the butterfly effect. So Matt Miller, 2-round mock draft. No surprise. Caleb Williams, 1 of the Bears, and then Drake May, 2 to the Commanders. The interesting thing about Drake May, 2 to the Commanders, potentially, is with Cliff Kingsbury going to Washington now as their offensive coordinator. He had Caleb Williams in Southern Cal in Los Angeles last year at USC. So maybe does Washington try to jump up to number 1 to take Caleb Williams? Would the Bears marry themselves to Justin Fields? The whole thing about Chicago is, they passed on a generational quarterback in Patrick Mahomes to take Trubisky. And so the whole thing with Chicago fans, like, could you really do it again with Caleb Williams to settle with Justin Fields or to take Drake May? Don't know. But for the sake of this mock draft, they have what a lot of us are anticipating, which is Jaden Daniels. Oh, excuse me. With the third pick in the draft, the New England Patriots and their head coach, Gerard Mayo. Sounds weird, doesn't it? Taking Jaden Daniels, number 3 overall. This is a consensus now. I haven't seen a mock draft anywhere that has Jaden Daniels outside of the top 3. It's hard to imagine a scenario at this point where he goes any later than 3. All of the quarterback-needy teams will either take him in the top 3 or somebody will trade up into the top 3 to take him. I haven't seen any mock draft where he's outside of the top 3.
I have not.
Marvin Harrison, 4 to the Cardinals, and then you don't have to wait any longer for the next LSU Tiger. With the 5th pick, Matt Miller projecting the Los Angeles Chargers and their new coach, Jim Harbaugh, selecting LSU wide receiver Malik Neighbors, and then one spot behind him, Rome Odunze, the wide receiver from Washington, to the New York Giants. So how about that? Potentially Daniels, Neighbors, both in the top 5 of the draft. There is one more LSU Tiger going in round 1 that we all are expecting to go in round 1. And that is with the 18th pick, the Cincinnati Bengals taking Brian Thomas Jr. Now, I would love to see Brian Thomas Jr. in the black and gold. We talked about this last week with one of the mock drafts. But Brian Thomas in Cincinnati actually does make a ton of sense. Take out the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, LSU connection. Like, it does make a lot of sense because T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd are both free agents. And if you lose one or both of those guys, Cincinnati will be in the market for a wide receiver, potentially one in round 1. So it ain't that crazy to think you could have another LSU Tiger there in Cincinnati. So for the 2-round mock, those are the only 2 LSU Tigers. That's probably not a giant surprise. But the Saints have 2 picks, 14 in round 1 and 45 overall in round 2. And with the 4th, I know, it's like, we're there. Muse and I were like, we're doing a little tap dance, a little square dance. Figuring it out. We're a little tango. I step on your foot, you step on my foot a little bit here. We're trying to work it out. Spin, do the thing where you the neck around. You see that one where the old people do that dance on TikTok? There's 2 80-year-old people who are doing like a dance, and they're dancing to like I don't know, like Get Low or something. It's awesome. They're doing like a real like partner dance.
They're like tangoing to Get Low.
It's awesome.
That actually does sound pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie.
I know. I don't think it's Get Low. It's something else. It's awesome. It's not Usher. With the 14th pick, the Saints taking Brock Bowers out of Georgia. I would love this if Brock Bowers is there at 14. It's hard to imagine a scenario that he would be there at 14, but the reason Bowers is there at 14 in this 2-round mock draft is because Matt Miller has Bo Nix and J.J. McCarthy going at 12 and 13, respectively. He's got Bo Nix going 12 to Denver and J.J. McCarthy going 13 to the Raiders. For the life of me, I cannot understand either of these. I watched these guys play in college, certainly saw Bo Nix at the Senior Bowl this weekend. That wasn't great. I don't know how you can justify thinking these guys are top half of round 1 picks. Yeah, I'm not a scout. See how it all plays out. Maybe they're awesome players at the next level. I don't know that I see that. I certainly don't see that in the top half of round 1. But if quarterback-needy teams pull the trigger on quarterbacks, that means good players at other positions fall. So, yes, you want 5 quarterbacks going in the top 13 because that means when the Saints are picking there at 14, there's going to be a player there who probably shouldn't be there of value. And if it's Brock Bowers, I could totally get down with the Saints taking Brock Bowers there at 14 overall if he's there. And with the 45th pick overall, it's pretty clear what every draft analyst thinks the Saints need, and it's help for Derek Carr offensively. And they've got the Saints taking Xavier Legette, the wide receiver out of South Carolina. 6'1", 227. He was great. Averaged 17.6 yards per reception this year there in Columbia. South Carolina didn't have a great year offensively, but Xavier Legette is great talent. And if you're able to get him at number 45 overall, that'd be a big target there for Derek Carr. And it's just pretty clear. It's just pretty abundantly clear that every mock draft you look at, with a few exceptions, where maybe you see Latu, the defensive end from UCLA, or Jared Verse from Florida State. In some instances, you'll see that edge rusher mocked to New Orleans at 14. Most of what you see is receiver, tight end, offensive line, because if you're committed to Derek Carr, you got to get him the tools to be the best version of himself he can be. And Lord knows the Saints have a lot of shortcomings offensively. So, Matt Miller, 2-round mock draft at ESPN.com up today. He's got the Saints taking Brock Bowers at 14 and wide receiver Xavier Legette at 45. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Traction, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Y'all, next week is Carnival. Kiddos out of school. If you're looking for something for your son or daughter to do next week while they're out of school, Traction has you covered. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they've got baseball and speed camps. Full and half-day options. So if you're going to party on Monday and Tuesday for Carnival and you got to go back to work on Wednesday, but your kiddos are out of school, let them get better at Traction. TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Registration is open right now. Go to TractionSports.com again. Baseball and speed camps, the Mardi Gras baseball and speed camps at Traction next week. Full and half-day options are available. Go to TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. All right, MK Williams will be with us. For LSU women's basketball freshman Michaela Williams, she'll be in studio here in about 15 minutes from right now. We'll look forward to that. Both the LSU men and women had nice bounce backs this weekend. Emphatic as well. The LSU men blew out Arkansas, beat them by 21. Arkansas didn't get within 17 in the second half, and then the women beat Florida by 40. So a really nice bounce back. Early in the show, we played that cut from Kim Mulkey talking about Haley Van Lith and how Haley Van Lith just cares so much about what people think about her. And she needs to stop trying to please everybody and be herself was essentially it. But Haley Van Lith talked about that as well after the game on Saturday, after the win against Florida.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just decided to be myself. And, you know, my teammates have been encouraging me to. My coaches have been encouraging me to. So I was finally able to, you know, find that.
Tried a rotation with her and last year Poa on the floor on Sunday against Florida, which worked really well. And, you know, I'm excited to have Michaela Williams in the studio. We'll talk about that as well. What this season has been like is this evolution of this very talented team, right? You bring in Anissa Mora, you bring in Haley Van Lith, you bring in Michaela Williams. You have all of these scorers, which you didn't have was your point. It was your engine. And with Alexis Morris graduating. So that's been an evolution of this team as they've gone along with Haley Van Lith taking over as the point guard and learning a new position. How much better she can get at that over the next 4 to 6 weeks is really going to determine what this team can be in the postseason. So excited to talk about that with Michaela Williams coming up here in just a smidge. Okay, it's after further review. Glad to have you aboard. Stick around. We'll continue on AFR.
AFR.
Okay, y'all, Super Bowl Sunday is this Sunday, of course, Super Bowl 58. If you're looking for a place to watch the game, Pluckers, always a great option. Nicholson or Bluebonnet, you'll always have an unobstructed view. The other thing Pluckers does every year for the Super Bowl is they will take your order. So if you're going to be having a watch party at your home or wherever you're going to be and you want wings, don't call Pluckers on Sunday at 3 o'clock and say, I need 200 wings. It's just not going to work out. So what they recommend is you call this week and place your order ahead of time. Tell them what you want and what time you want it ready, and they'll have it for you. So if you want 200 wings ready at 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock, whatever, they'll have it ready for you. So call and place that Super Bowl order now at either Pluckers location. Nicholson just south of campus or Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Remember, tonight and every Monday, all you can eat wings at both Pluckers locations. So remember, at Pluckers, if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 Black Widow trucks, $20,000 off new Ram 1500 trucks, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2024.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
This is just breaking here within the last hour or so, and I got it here from Pete Nakos from On3. The National Labor, I'll just read you the tweet. The National Labor Relations Board Regional Director in Region 1, Boston, has issued a decision ruling Dartmouth men's basketball players are employees of Dartmouth. NLRB ordering a union election, basically saying the Dartmouth basketball players are allowed to unionize. Feel like we went down this road with Northwestern a few years back. So I'll believe it when I see it as it moves forward. But the thing that I'll always caution against with the idea of unionizing or making college athletes employees is the thing that most people don't really grasp. It's what exists in the nuance. Like, people see the large dollar amounts and assume that, well, everybody's getting rich and the kids are getting nothing. And y'all know I'm very pro NIL. Very pro NIL, transfer portal, everything. Give advantages to student athletes. I am the most pro that. But I am not in favor of college athletes unionizing and becoming employees, because this is the challenge. Most people don't realize all of these sports lose money, except football, men's basketball, and in some very rare cases, baseball or women's basketball. Everything else loses money. Everything. The LSU women's basketball team last year won the national championship, lost millions of dollars. But it's a loss leader. Talked about this. You can't buy the exposure and the attention that national championship run a year ago created. If this happens, all of those sports are going to get cut. Period. Because if they're employees, then they are no longer protected by Title IX. And so all of the sports that aren't revenue generators are going to get cut, because these athletic departments are going to have to take the money that football and men's basketball generates and pay their student athletes instead of funding other sports. Now, as a college football elitist, I'm good with that. But I also recognize all of the actual amateur sports that do good and give a lot of student athletes opportunities to go to school that might otherwise not have an opportunity to get a degree and compete and all this stuff, that all goes away. So while I am great with NIL, it's why I've always been so pro NIL. Like, let the student athletes who have brand value and worth and can get that have a market, let them go make money in the free market. Because the second you start taking the revenue generated by these sports and sharing it, rev sharing and profit sharing with the student athletes, first of all, there's not enough money to make it be significant. And second of all, their experience drops dramatically, because instead of paying for charter air and nice hotels and great facilities and athletic care, like, instead of that, the money that's going to that all of a sudden now is going to student athletes. Okay, here's your money. Guess what? We're flying Southwest with 2 layovers to Vegas. I mean, you're not staying at the Mandalay Bay. You're staying off the Strip. Right? Like, it becomes more of a minor league baseball approach. Just careful what you ask for with some of that stuff. All right. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com. Michelli.com, 76 years in business. Love telling you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Always love telling you to start at the website as well. The website is such a great resource. So many people, in the industry knows Michelli because they're the nation's largest distributor of scales. So people know Michelli because of scales. But when people go to the website, that's generally when people start to see all of the services that they offer at Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Listen, selecting a vendor, that's a relationship. And that vendor has to deliver. And when you talk about Michelli, their account managers, they'll pick up and drop off. If you have devices that need to be calibrated, equipment that needs to be calibrated, they'll come to you, pick it up, bring it back, calibrate it, return it to you. You don't have to worry about packaging it up, shipping it across the country. They're a local option as well. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Look, if you got surface plates and welding machines and pressure and temperature gauges, equipment that can't leave your facility, they'll come calibrate on site at Michelli Weighing and Measurements. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. They offer ISO 17025 accreditation, and they're always looking for technicians. So you can always go, if you're looking for a career instead of a job, to Michelli.com. Michelli.com for Michelli Weighing and Measurement. That's Michelli.com. All right, Michaela Williams is said to be in studio with us here in the next segment. LSU baseball, the defending champs, had a scrimmage. It was scheduled for Saturday. Rain in the area all Saturday. They moved it to Sunday. Muse was out there. Muse, give me some bullet points, man. What were the takeaways from the scrimmage on Sunday out at the box?
There were a lot, man. Came away kind of pleased with multiple things throughout. Like,
real quick before we start, explain to us the format, how they set it up.
You mean the scrimmage?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, they played about 7.5 innings, almost 8 full, and it's interesting. They have that wacky scoring system, but don't really worry about that. So they split the team up pretty evenly. It's not like starters versus bench players or whatnot. And normally the starting pitcher will go out there, they'll have a normal inning, and then in their second inning of work, they'll start a runner on first base, even with 0 outs. They'll just plant a guy there and see how they go. And they kind of flip-flop with that throughout. But this one, I will say, I'm glad you brought that up. They operated it, Jay managed it more like he would a game. They actually had mid-inning pitching changes, which normally they don't do, pinch hitters, things like that. So they did manage this one a little bit more like a game.
So what were give me a few standouts on the mound.
So on the mound, I will start with Javen Coleman. I thought he looked fantastic, man. The fastball was back up to 95, which when he came back last year, it was there, but it dipped towards the end. It was back to 95. He faced the minimum through 3 innings, which was fantastic, and he was facing a lineup that had Tommy White, Brady Neal, Paxton Kling, Michael Braswell, like guys you're expecting to be starters, Jared Jones in it, and faced the minimum through 3 innings, shutout ball. So I thought he was fantastic. Good to see, looked healthy. There was a junior college transfer, Fidel Ulloa. He has a fantastic mustache, by the way.
Okay. Where's he from?
He's out in California. Oh man, I have to look it up. I don't have this.
Just keep going. I got the roster. Good.
But he's up to 95, 96, righty. They don't have many righty relievers. I think that they're trying to figure those guys out. He came in one of the mid-inning pitching changes with a runner on second, 1 out, and Tommy White, Hayden Travinski, and Jared Jones due up. So that piqued my interest, obviously. He struck Tommy White out in that spot, and then Travinski reached on an infield single. It was just hitting the perfect spot, as you would imagine it would have to be for Hayden Travinski to beat out an infield single. And then
San Joaquin Delta College.
There you go, San Joaquin Delta. And then they put some motion on that allowed a run to score because Milazzo threw down to second with runners at the corners, and I think they just wanted to see how it would go. But other than that, he performed really well in that spot. So those were my 2 big standouts on the mound.
Offensively?
Josh Pearson was incredible. I mean,
I heard he hit one off the Intimidator.
He hit one off the Intimidator. He was a single shy of the cycle. I mean, I know it's a scrimmage, but he was a single shy of the cycle. He went triple-double and then the 3-run shot off the Intimidator. I think what a lot of people want to know is can he play?
He didn't get the single.
No, because he got hit. His next at bat, they hit him with the ball. I was like, what are you doing?
Who hit him?
I think it was Cade Woods, a transfer from Alabama.
Yeah.
I could look it up on my phone in my notes, but I don't remember. But I was like, come on, man, just serve one up for him. It's a damn scrimmage. Let him get the cycle. But he was great. So he reached base in all 4, at bats there, or plate appearances, I should say. And then I think a lot of people want to know if he can play second base. They finally hit him a baseball. That's the first time I've actually seen them hit him a ball. He scooped it up, no problem, and made the throw.
Are you buying him as a second baseman?
I want to, but I want to see more of it. I'm serious. That's through fall and now this part. That's the first time I've seen them hit him a ball.
I mean, Terrio's told us this forever. It's the easiest spot to play on the infield, and so if you want to stick somebody there, okay. If he gets you another glove in the outfield or another bat in the lineup, whatever he's going for, good.
Jared Foster played second base for LSU. He spent his whole career as an outfielder, and then Maneri moved him to second base, and he did fine. They were number 1 in the country for the majority of that year, right? I mean, he was there for his bat, and he did fine. So yeah, I think he can do it. What I'm most excited about with Pearson is I think we're finally going to get a full season of him in the lineup from opening day through, provided he stays healthy, which is something we haven't had.
Did Bain play second?
Austin Bain played second. He was a pitcher, and he played second base. That would have been
when he led the SEC in doubles.
So I mean, look, sure, I think
if he gets another bat in the lineup, great.
Yes,
I trust Jay Johnson. He knows what he's doing.
Yes, and he's a veteran, and they trust Josh Pearson an awful lot. So that was a standout.
Musso at the Box. Make sure you're subscribed up on your favorite podcast app, and now there's a video element. So Musso at the Box YouTube channel as well. So please go subscribe up there as well. 239 subs. We got to get you to 1,000 subs, Moose, so we can monetize this thing. Look. Yeah, I host the show, but I'm also the program director of the station. So I want to monetize this damn thing. So please go to YouTube and subscribe to Musso at the Box and watch the 2 videos that are posted. I'm just being completely transparent. You have to monetize a channel, you got to get to 1,000 subs, and it's like 10,000 watch hours or something like that. I might be off on whatever. So I'm asking very nicely, if not begging, please go to Musso at the Box on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. And Even if you don't want to watch Musso's video, just hit play and just let it play through for like 30 minutes just to give us the watch time.
You should want to watch it too, but I'm also begging. Yeah,
but
please.
Even if you don't want to watch it, just go hit play and let it watch all the way through and tell all your friends to do the same thing. All right. Thank you, Moose. We appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe up to Musso at the Box on podcast or on YouTube or on both. It's after further review. We'll knock out a break. MK Williams, LSU freshman on the women's basketball team, part of the G team, joins us in studio next here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Siega near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Don Moore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. You know where they are. It is a great time to get by, and as we say all the time, just plant something. Miss Teresa earlier today over at Clegg's was letting me know they got a great selection right now of plants. Shipments arriving almost daily. Get in the yard. Your plants, your shrubs, your fruit trees. It is time to plant trees. So get on out to Clegg's Nursery. If you're thinking about rose bushes, they've got a great selection, and now is the time. They got a great selection of colorful bedding plants that love cooler weather. So this is a great time, and it'll be a beautiful look when spring arrives, and love this cooler weather. New shipments of flowers almost daily. Get on by Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area, you know where to find them. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Happy New Year from your friends at Front to Back Boat Service. And what better way to kick off your new year than by taking your boat to the next level? Get the boat of your dreams, and that's where Front to Back comes into play. You want that spot lock trolling motor that's going to keep you right there on the water where you need to be. How about some forward-facing sonar that actually shows you the fish before you even cast? Custom stereo jobs, all of it. Sherman family's been doing it for 38 years. Go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
I rolled along. LSU women's basketball team bounced back nicely. I'd say so. We beat somebody by 40. It's a pretty good bounce back. Michaela Williams was a part of that. I mean, 5-star, one of the top players in the country coming in. Already made her presence felt on the LSU women's basketball team. And now she's part of the G team as well and joining us in studio. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. So polite. Love that. Okay, let me just start with yesterday. How did it feel? I mean, I would imagine whenever you have the expectation this team does and you lose back-to-back games, and South Carolina was so disappointing, obviously, but you lose back-to-back games and you bounce back in that way, right? You win by 40. Like, walk us through that game, the bounce back.
Right. I would say the bounce back it felt great. You know, we gave the game to South Carolina, and then we dropped one to Mississippi State. So I feel like coming back against Florida, winning by 40, we had all of our starters in double digits. Everybody got to eat. It just felt good. Everybody was having fun. We felt bouncy. Defense was great. We had 3 shot clock violations. That's really been one of our main focuses. So, I mean, it was a great feeling. I love being back to the winning side.
Yeah. You were 9 of 12 from the floor yesterday for 21 points. I mean, you can always score, right? I mean, you came here and everybody knew you could score. And I think Kim knew everybody on this team could score, right? What has been for you in your game the thing you've tried to work on most? Right? You could roll out of bed and score 20. Well, what's the thing that you've had to work on?
I think the biggest thing for me is conditioning, for sure. High school and college are 2 completely different levels. Like, they're not the same at all. So I feel like conditioning and being able to play how long Coach Mulkey needs me to play on the court effectively. I think sometimes I can be on the floor, but it's not effective minutes. So I'm trying to get in that condition to play an effective 40 minutes or 30 minutes, however many minutes Coach Mulkey needs me to play.
Do you think, because that was a big question that a lot of people talked about after South Carolina, was kind of telling that last 4 minutes, it looked like you all maybe had worn down and South Carolina kind of hit their kick, right? Is that a legitimate thing for this team, especially with Samaya's injury and with Kateri no longer being on the team, just the numbers not being maybe what we thought? Like, is depth maybe wearing a little bit on you?
I wouldn't say 100%. I mean, there's obviously some problems. Like, obviously we're playing 40 minutes a game. Like, you're going to be tired. It's a basketball game. But I feel like the more we play together and the more we figure out each other, then 40 minutes get easier and easier to play together.
Yeah. Michaela Williams. I asked her, do I call you Michaela or MK? She said either. And I said, what do people call you? She said, let's go with MK. So I'm going to go with MK. When you, like, I love asking people this who, like, when you're a 5-star and you're, like, the best in the country and you're in high school and you're just playing at a different level than a lot of kids, you probably had a game or games. Like, was there ever one that comes to mind immediately where you just, like, totally dominated everybody? Like, everything went in. Did you ever score like 70? What was the best game you ever had?
I've never scored 70 before. That's
60?
No.
50?
I think no.
Okay, all
but
right.
I have had 42.
All right, 42.
And that was against Kent State. I feel like that was one of the best games, but I really applied my teammates.
No, I mean in high school.
High school?
Yeah. No, you didn't score 70 in college.
I was going to say, absolutely not.
No, I know. Well, 42 against Kent State as a freshman, that was an absurd game to begin with. But, like, I'm talking any level. Like, 6th grade, did you go out there and just hang 80 on some kids?
No, never that. I was always taken out before we got to that point.
So you hung 80 or 40 in the first half and they took you out?
No.
You're being way too modest.
No. I would get to about like 45.
Okay, thanks. You get to 45 and then they pull her. MK Williams with us. Hey, I want to talk a little bit more about the rest of the season, but I also want to talk obviously about joining the G team with Gordon, who's been awesome. What was your experience when you got to go sit? I know every member of the G team, you get to go meet Gordon at his office and all that stuff. What was your experience like getting to meet him?
Right. I love Gordon. I think just his want to expand women's sports is what kind of attracted me and some of my teammates towards him. So him attracting the women's sports and growing the women's game was a big eye-opener for me. So that made me want to join his team more.
Saw that Kim did the riding with G in the Ferrari. You gonna get to do that?
I don't know yet.
I don't know. Can we make that happen? I think so. I think we can make that happen. Get you to go ride in the Ferrari with him. I mean, like, you think it maybe let you drive?
Oh no, I don't want to drive it.
What? Why wouldn't you want to drive?
These Baton Rouge roads are terrible.
It didn't take you long being here to figure that out.
Awful.
MK Williams is with us, LSU freshman on the women's basketball team, making a run toward hopefully another national championship, and you'll be a big part of that. As you all push toward the final 6 weeks of the season or so, what would you say collectively as a team is the thing that you all need to work on the most?
Defense, 100%. We have all the talent and all the athletes and all the players to go score on the offensive end. We know we have that side of the floor handled. It's the defensive end, being able to make stops, collective stops, being able to help each other and be together. And I think the biggest thing is just moving as one. We just want to find that togetherness and that chemistry.
Something I've heard Coach Mulkey talk about a lot is whenever you all go on the road or even at home. I mean, the South Carolina game at home was bonkers. She said it's like she's compared it to like she's traveling with the Beatles. Everyone comes to see y'all play, right? What's that like for you and your teammates?
For me personally, I think it's a blessing because women's sports didn't always used to look like this. So I just feel like with Angel Reese and Flage and Haley Van Lith and Anissa Morrow, those type of players people want to see and their attitudes and how they carry themselves and how they play the game of basketball. That just expands the sport. So we have so many eyes watching us and so many little girls that we get to touch and influence.
Yeah. Is it ever distracting when you go on the road?
I don't think it's ever distracting. I feel like all of my teammates are very humble and very locked in on their goal.
Yeah. What's been the craziest atmosphere that y'all have seen so far, for whatever reason? Like venue, like traveling to a venue, hotel, anything like that? What have you run into?
I mean, they've all been pretty packed. They've all been kind of pretty the same, but I think the biggest one I would probably say is South Carolina. That's the biggest one I've seen.
Yeah.
It was loud. It was white. The students were let in early. It was packed from seat to seat. So.
What about on the road?
On the road, I would probably say all of them have been pretty packed, but I want to go with Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss was the most packed away game.
The Mississippi State game that y'all lost last week, it came after, obviously, you had a close game against South Carolina and the quick turnaround. How much did the South Carolina loss linger into Mississippi State?
I don't think it lingered at all because once we lost to South Carolina, it's like wash your hands on to the next. We can't carry those losses into the next games because if we do, then bad stuff starts to happen. So I feel like we let that one go, but then we had a hiccup in the Mississippi State game.
Yeah. Michaela Williams, MK Williams, is with us here in studio for a couple of more minutes as the LSU women's basketball team trying to repeat. Do y'all talk about that? Do y'all talk about like repeating, winning the national championship, or is it really like compartmentalized one game at a time?
We know that's the big picture, but I feel like we kind of compartmentalize that part and we take it one step at a time, one game at a time, one practice at a time, 1 minute at a time.
Do you want to play South Carolina again?
Absolutely.
I love that you didn't hesitate.
Absolutely.
You want to play them again in the tournament?
Yes.
What do you think you do differently?
I feel like I was very I had a lot of adrenaline going, so my shot was hard. So I feel like I'm used to the atmosphere. I know what's coming, and so I can just relax and play my game. And in defense, that's just something I've been working on. So just being a better defender.
Yeah, I didn't bring up South Carolina. It wasn't a great day shooting for you. I'm pulling. You're one of 10 from 3, but it's also a thing where when you are you and you can score like that, you got to get your shots up though, right? Like you didn't shy away from shooting them. But so you said your shot was hard that day. Like make that make sense for someone who doesn't shoot a basketball every day. Like what was the difference for you that day?
Right. I think the difference was I was so pumped up. I had so much energy and my body felt so loose and I was so happy and excited to be playing South Carolina as a freshman and this big crowd in the PMAC. All of my people are here, so I just had a lot of adrenaline, a lot of energy, and I was pushing the ball, hitting the back of the rim, hitting the back, airballed. So.
I love that you laugh at it. That's so good. You got to be able to laugh, right?
Yeah.
Before you go, I know you told me off air, but I'd love you to tell our audience like what you're studying at LSU and what your career goals are when you're done playing.
I am studying psychology, and I want to kind of go into sports psychology with that. I want to help athletes be able to navigate their emotions and their feeling outside of the sports and outside of basketball specifically. But I want them to be able to know that they are a person outside of that sport that they're in.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's really cool. I think sometimes we see student athletes play their sport so good at, and sometimes lose sight that y'all are students too, and you're going to school to get a degree, and making plans for what's going to come whenever your playing days do end. Would you ever want to be like Kim's stylist or anything like that?
Absolutely not. They have their hands full.
Do y'all ever? I mean, it ain't just Kim, like Jennifer too. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much. I mean, if I could use the word swag on that staff, it's unbelievable. I guess the whole roster. But do y'all ever look at what she wears or they wear, and like y'all are taken aback by it at all? Like, do y'all wait to see every game day what she's going to come out in?
Sometimes we like to see what she comes out. All of them, actually. All of them have a different outfit, and it's kind of fun to see and guess what they're going to come in and wear.
I mean, the whole thing is a show. You know what I mean? From like what the coaches are wearing to, you know, obviously with influencers like Angel and Flage, like you mentioned, and I mean, you can all score. It really is kind of amazing to watch this show go on the road with all of you. But not home yet. 21 games in. Got to get home here on conference schedule. Conference tournament, then the NCAA tournament will get underway, and they'll try to go back-to-back the LSU women's basketball team. MK Williams, part of the G team as well. We love our relationship with Gordon here. By the way, have you gone to see the billboard? We have Paul, I don't know if you can zoom in on it. We got the mini billboard over there next to Michaela. So there's the G basketball and then the billboard right next to it. But actually, just hand it to me. No, you're good. All right, he's going to zoom in. That's fine. He's going to zoom in on it. Yeah, have you gone and seen the billboard?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Not yet.
Do you know where it is?
I have no idea where it is.
All right, Molly, we got to find out where the billboard is. Okay, she's gonna make sure you get to see it. That'd be real. Is this your first time ever on a billboard?
No, it is not.
When was the last time?
The last time I was with Gordon, they put me on a billboard.
Okay, so you're gonna be on multiple Gordon billboards. He'll take care of you for sure. He'll get it done. We'll put it to you that way. Thanks so much for coming in. It was great to visit.
Thank you for having me.
That is MK Williams, the LSU women's basketball team is Vanderbilt this week, so they'll be on the road up in Nashville. We'll be pulling for you. All right, it's after further review. Let's knock out a quick break. We'll wrap up next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Hey, y'all remember Carnival. It's Mardi Gras time. Make sure you get on by Rouse's. Get your king cake or ship your favorite king cake anywhere in the country. You got a friend that's, maybe living out of town. They moved out of state, family member, and you want to give them a little taste of home this Carnival season. Get your king cakes shipped anywhere in the country. All the gourmet flavors, go to Rouse's.com. You'll see it right there. It says now shipping with the pictures of the king cakes. You can tap that. You can pick your favorite king cake, whichever one you want, any gourmet king cake, and they'll ship it anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. Go to Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Also, if you're going to be hitting the parade route, they got party platters and party trays as well. You need those grab-and-go options. Get all of your Mardi Gras favorites. Be the hit of whatever parade that you're going to be at, any parade route. They can have all your finger foods and sandwiches and everything for your Mardi Gras parade to make it a hit. From Rouse's, this feels like home.
Join MMR and ignite your career today. MMR is the largest electrical and instrumentation contractor in the nation, and they're seeking talented individuals to join their team. For over 3 decades, they've been headquartered right here in Baton Rouge, and they have offices all around the globe.
And MMR offers a tailored path for both professional and personal development, outstanding benefits, and a dynamic culture. So whether you're an intern, a seasoned pro, or you're just starting out, see what MMR can offer you. Apply at mmrgrp.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
We're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, You're getting a re-roof. You're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified, and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR. Been a good one, and we appreciate you for hanging out with us here. Thanks to MK Williams for joining us in studio. They had a good opportunity this week, the women do. It was interesting her talking about that South Carolina loss where, I mean, we talked about it after. She was 1 of 10 from 3, and she didn't shy away from it. She was just amped up. I mean, it was just so much adrenaline when you're on that stage for the first time against the number 1 team in the country and all, national TV and everything surrounding that game. And she said her shot was a little too hard, but she plays it again. She's experienced it before. A big part of that's just growing. But at 21 last night as LSU blew out Florida, and now they head to Vanderbilt this week. Schedule lightens up a little bit for Kim Mulkey's squad. South Carolina, they're on the road at Vanderbilt, home against Bama, at A&M, Auburn, and then you're at Tennessee, Georgia, and Kentucky to finish. So, it lightens up here down the stretch for them as they try to finish strong for the SEC tournament. Maybe you start playing their best basketball before they hit March Madness. Try to repeat. All right, it's after further review. Again, if you missed anything, AFR On Demand is presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time at golf.breck.org. That's golf.breck.org. Saints fired Doug Marrone. We talked about that impact. That's there on demand. Kat Terrell was here in hour 2. MK Williams was just here in studio a bit ago. If you missed anything, on your favorite podcast app, just search After Further Review and subscribe up. Okay, let's do it. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Ottfather himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Good, Matthew. How about you, buddy?
Doing awesome, man. I made a really bad decision that worked out for me this weekend. I did one of those really pissed off impulse bets where I made way too much of a bet than I should have. I live bet the over on that in the final 2 minutes of the Lakers and Knicks, and it hit because they just kept fouling and making free throws. So, man, Saturday ended up being a great day for your boy, but sometimes those don't work out too well.
Yeah, be careful of those.
Well, I'm never going to learn, Otter. It's just going to be those that you just do like, you know what? Whatever. I'm all in on this one. And it hit, though. Right.
Gotcha. Okay, got a doubleheader on ESPN tonight, Virginia and Miami. Miami came from behind and beat Virginia Tech and covered on Saturday afternoon. I had them, but I was a little bit fortunate to get there because they were losing for most of the game. Virginia, on the other, probably one of their best wins on the road at Clemson. Virginia is playing better. Bennett is a good coach. They probably just played themselves into the tournament with that win against Clemson on Saturday. They won 6 in a row, Matt. Virginia is better. The net has a wider disparity between Virginia and Miami than the KenPom does. I think 5 is short tonight. It's 5.5 at home with DraftKings. Set it down to -5.
Okay, so we're looking at Virginia -5.
Yep.
All right, Virginia -5. Got it.
Scroll down, 7 o'clock in Lake Charles. McNeese State they got beat at Southeastern. I was there in half on Saturday afternoon and saw them. That snapped the longest winning streak in the country. Will Wade's crew did. Reason is they fell behind way too big. SLU hit their first 7 of 10 threes, but still fell behind by as many as 19. Came back, put it to 1 with 6 seconds to go. Missed a couple of wide open threes to tie it and put it in overtime. But I think they're going to be a little bit more focused against a much inferior opponent tonight. Back home where they get their home crowd. It's an electric atmosphere. 18 is a lot. That's okay. Take McNeese minus 18.
All right.
At 7-5.
Laying the big number there with Will Wade's squad. Anything else?
And Kansas State at home. I've got 4. I see 3.5 at DraftKings. Buy that to +4. Kansas State up. Kansas' best win of the season. Now they follow it up, going on the road in a rivalry spot here, taking Kansas State +4.
By the way, there is at DraftKings
1 minute remaining.
I saw it here. There is a boost on that game, Otter. Let me make sure I got it right here. It is it's a 50% profit boost for any game, or for any bet on that Kansas State game. So you're saying we're going to buy it to 4. So Kansas State +4. The 50% boost puts it at +125. So
great.
All right, so Kansas State +4. Use that boost if you're there at DraftKings.
1 minute remaining.
All right. All right, so Virginia laying 5, McNeese laying 18, Kansas State +4. Where are you tomorrow, Otter?
Tomorrow in my food on the.
Very good. All right, Otter, we appreciate you, man. Good luck tonight. We'll talk tomorrow. All right, I think his phone might have dropped there. Okay, that's going to do it for us. Amuse Pauly. I appreciate if you miss anything. AFR On Demand presented by Brett Golf. We will see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
All right, as we get on down the road, remind you about the Williamson Eye Center. By the way, the Otter is a patient of Dr. Blake Williamson's. A few years ago, Otter had the lens replacement surgery. I tell you, it doesn't matter your age or your refractive issue. Ott and I were at SEC Media Days in 2018 in Atlanta. And we went to dinner, and I was laughing at him because he's doing the thing where he's got the glasses on his nose, he's got his phone with his flashlight on his phone, looking at the menu just to be able to see the menu in a dimly lit restaurant. And I'm laughing at him because he's an old guy with glasses on his nose using his phone flashlight to be able to see the menu. But not anymore, because Otter went to Dr. Blake Williamson. He had the lens replacement, and now see perfectly. For me, it was LASIK. For you, maybe it's EVO ICL, which is the implantable contact lens. No matter your age or your refractive issue, they have a solution for you to be able to see perfectly without contacts or glasses. Just go for the consultation at the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.